Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Mike Lombardo. It's good to have you here. Yeah.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
I noticed the shirt, Castle Freak. That's a cool shirt.
Oh, yeah. One of Stuart Gordon's many underrated masterpieces.
I agree 100%. Yeah, definitely. It's one that's not talked about a lot, compared to some of the others.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. You got a lot of cool, I can't see, I assume cool movies behind you.
This is only a quarter of the collection. This is just DVDs. The other side of the room is all Blu-rays, TV shows, and actually this right here is just Blu-rays I have not watched yet. And then next to me, you can kind of see is two 3-foot stacks of Blu-rays that I also have not watched. So I will be long dead before I ever finish all of the physical media that I own and is still incoming in the mail.
Yeah. That brings us to the name of the movie, Dead Format, which refers to, I assume, to VHS, not necessarily.
Yes. Yes. So Dead Format is about a VHS collector who is dealing with the loss of his father, and it's set in kind of early 2000s, so right before the rental stores started to go out of business. It's on the brink of that. We have another host popping in.
Yes, terrible.
Yes, indeed.
Here. Yes.
Hello, sir.
How we doing today?
We're doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
He's telling us about his film that the people can help get made, and then it's Dead Format.
Excellent.
Yes. So it's about a young VHS collector, or movie collector, I should say, because being a VHS collector wasn't really a thing in 2001. That was usually a collector period. So he's dealing with the loss of his father, and he's kind of alienated from his friends and family. And dealing with that, he moved back into his childhood home. And he finds out that the video store that he used to go to as a child, Video Castle, is going out of business. So he goes there to check out all their tapes and buy out their horror section, and comes across a movie he's never heard of before, which is called Next to Die, which is pseudo, looks like a Faces of Death tape. This was designed by Joe Meredith, a really cool shot on video filmmaker. So he buys this tape, not knowing anything about it. It ends up being a cursed tape, and bad stuff starts happening. And it gets real nasty. We'll say that without getting into too many spoilers. Things don't go well for him.
I love the VHS tape.
Down with that.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks legit, but it is a legit VHS tape, I suppose. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not. This is just stuff with foam, but this is a fake box.
Yeah,
but it looks real. Yeah, Joe Meredith did a great job on this. And this, whoops, sorry, wrong side. This hourglass with blood and the candles is an image that you'll see a lot in the movie.
Nice.
Can you hold it up again real quick? I just put you on solo here. So.
Yeah, sure. This is Next to That, which could be Faces of Death 6, the way that Joe designed this. This is very, very. I flipped out when I saw the design.
I like that a lot.
He really nailed it. What's that?
I didn't really notice what it was until you just showed it the second time.
Yeah, well, it's cool because
really
we even
an hourglass.
We even matched the fonts to Faces of Death, which is funny because my other film, I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, as we were doing the cover for this, I realized that the artist, Mark Schoenbach, used the Faces of Death font for that too, and I didn't even realize it.
It's a Lombardo verse.
Yeah, I was like, man, this looks really familiar for some reason.
Little continuity, I like that, yeah.
Brian Enright says, congratulations, Mike.
Thank you, Brian. He's one of my old co-hosts from the Horror Syndicate back in the day.
Oh, nice. I know Brian as well. Coast, he says he knew a Mike Lombardo from SFSU. I wonder if you're related or maybe the same person.
Not sure. There's a lot of Lombardos out there. I will tell you I am not the YouTube musician Mike Lombardo. If you Google my name, that's the first result. Not the same guy.
Yeah.
Very, very much not the same guy.
Yeah. So from understand, this was originally a short story in one of your books?
Yes. Actually, I have it right here, as a matter of fact. It was a short story in a book called Please Don't Tap on the Glass and Other Tales of the Melancholy and Grotesque.
Nice.
That's a handful of a title. It's oriented sideways because it's a fish aquarium with mutated fish, and you can actually, this is the audience in there, the shadow, and you're looking through the tank. So that's why it's oriented kind of funny. But that was a short story collection, about 10 years of my short fiction, and Dead Format was by far the most popular story in that book. So it eventually everyone kept saying, you should make this own movie, you should make this own movie, which is how White Doomsday, which is also in that book, came about. And I was like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? I don't have any money or anything to make a post-apocalyptic Christmas movie. And then, flash forward 4 years later, we've got a feature out of it, and that's kind of what's happening with Dead Format, except I was coerced a lot easier into making it a full-length film instead of a short by my producers, so we're planning it to be feature-length as opposed to Doomsday, where halfway through we realized we were accidentally making a feature. So a lot better to go about it this way.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more to do with. I mean, it's great to make shorts, but there's a lot more to do with the feature once it's done.
Oh, big time! It's I mean, White Doomsday took 4 years to shoot on weekends, and that was. I say to people that nothing can be worse than the production of that movie. So no matter what problems we have on Dead Format, it can't be worse because we will be filming in locations that have plumbing and electricity.
Oh.
Unlike, we're going with the Ritz here. Unlike what we went to Doomsday was all abandoned locations and trespassing. Wow. I mean, getting film permits and very much having permission to be in those areas.
Sure.
So this takes place in a suburban house mostly, which is great, except for the chainsaws and the all the unpleasantness that happens. It should be a very easy shoot.
And so you have the Indiegogo up, which I have the link in here, and I'll post it throughout the show and on the website after it's over. But you have a lot of cool perks on the Indiegogo.
So basically the way we approach it, this is the first time I've ever crowdfunded anything. All of my previous projects over the last 2 decades have been self-financed. And I was originally planning on self-financing Dead Format until wiser people than I said you should make a feature. And I decided I don't have the money. And White Doomsday we made for $10,000, which for any aspiring filmmakers out there, don't try to make a movie for $10,000. It's a horrible experience. We were very lucky that we had as many people as we did that we could pull favors from. Because I mean, I've been helping people do special effects and all sorts of crap for years and years and years. So I pulled in a phone book worth of favors. But on Dead Format, it's 20 times the size. So I was like, there's no way in hell I can finance this myself. So we decided to go with the crowdfunding. I mean, all the money I've made from White Doomsday over the last 7 years, I've been putting aside. So all that is, I've already put about $3,000 into pre-production for this already, and the rest of that money is going to go into it. So I've got lots of skin in the game. I don't have a problem with other people crowdfunding. Like, I support crowdfunders all the time, but me personally, it goes against the grain to ask people for money. I don't like doing it because I'll sell people shit all day, but it's weird for me to ask for donations. So this took a lot of cajoling to get me to do it, but I'm like, all right, if we're going to do this, then I want to make sure the perks are stuff that I would buy if I saw it at a store. So we really went to town designing this stuff. So like my favorite perk is Tapehead, which is the rental clamshells from Video Castle. So Video Castle is a fake store, completely made up. Whoops, that's backwards.
Very nice.
We're actually filming this in Brian Keene's bookstore, Vortex Books and Comics, which we even put the address on here.
Nice.
That's
a nice touch. Yeah.
Well, little Easter egg, and these are all like Mennonite of the Living Dead, and they have they each have an actual plot synopsis and a rating and why and everything. Like, we went to town on this stuff.
Oh, that's
so
great.
These are actually going to be in the movie, in the video store. We have, I think, 10 or 11 different ones. We have like Leprechaun. We're actually doing I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday 2, Simon's Quest, which we're doing a photo shoot tomorrow or this weekend for. So we're designing full fake video sleeves as well, which is the staff picks perk. You can get a screen use one of those. And we've already been working on like Mennonite of the Living Dead, Leprechaun, like a leprosy convict.
Oh, nice.
And they're all like, they all have backstories and synopsis and stuff. Like, it's been a blast. They're basically all movies that we never got to shoot for real splatter over the years, but now we get to do the fun parts, not all the miserable stuff. So we've been working on that. So that's a fun perk. And then we did video store membership cards that are actually going to be personalized for each backer. So
I love that. That's a great idea.
We went really. I don't know if you guys can see this, but like it says copyright like 1991, and the barcode on all of this. If you scan it with a barcode scanner, it says Real Splatter, which is my production company. So
nice.
We went to town. You can get the Next to Die props. You know, you can get those. You can get signed copies of Please Don't Tap on the Glass. Obviously, Blu-rays. We've got VHS copies of the actual movie. We got all sorts of cool stuff. We just did a thing with Brian Keene, our executive producer, where you could actually spend the day with him and go on tour with all the locations from his books. But that sold out in like 2 hours. So sorry, everybody.
That's good. That's a good problem, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. But, you know, so I wanted to make sure all the perks were like cool enough that I would back them. And, you know, fortunately, over 300 people thought so, too, because they've all donated, which is amazing. Like, people have been so cool. with this. So I'm very happy. We're at 77% right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know you said, like, it wasn't something you wanted to do, the crowdfunding, but that has to be a good feeling, obviously, that people like that, and or just people in horror, they're like, oh, we want
Yeah,
to
that are
support this.
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's like, so we made Doomsday. It came out 7 years ago, and I haven't made a film since. I released the book, but I was so burnt out because I spent 4 years making a movie, another year or two on the festival circuit, and then when it came out on Blu-ray and stuff, that's another 2 years promoting that, and like I was burnt, like real bad. So I honestly didn't know I was ever going to make another movie again, and it wasn't until I quit my job. I was a manager, the fulfillment manager at Target, and that was like destroying my life. It was so stressful. I quit and got a new job, so now I have weekends off, and I'm like, I'm doing a lot less manual labor, so I have time and energy again. And I'm like, all right, it's time. But I was terrified that like nobody would give a shit. It's like imposter syndrome. I mean, you guys probably know this. Imposter syndrome sucks. So I'm like, no one's going to pay attention to this. Everyone's going to laugh. They're like, oh, that's cute. Lombardo's making another movie. We cleared 11 grand the first day, which was, I still can't even believe that happened. Like the amount of people that just text and messages and emails just saying they're so happy to see us back in the game. Like it really was wonderful. Like that day, my ego couldn't fit through the door. Let me tell you, it was pretty wild. And then the coolest thing so far in the campaign though is 2 days ago, Robert Cargill backed it and then retweeted it, which is I still cannot believe happened. I mean, the man wrote The Black Phone and Sinister. And it's just like, wow, that's incredible. So it's been very, very cool.
Yeah. No, like that kind of thing to me, it's obviously it's great for you, but also like makes me like, oh, this is a cool guy. He makes big movies, but he still is supporting, other horror films and horror films. It's just good all around for the horror community. I think.
That's what blew my mind about it. It's like this guy has no reason to do this. Like this is super cool. And the thing is, like, I love Sinister and I loved The Black Phone, so it was like really like holy shit, this is really really cool. And like we've been lucky. Like Edward Lee, who is my all-time favorite author, he's an extreme horror writer. He backed the project. Like when I'm going through like the perks and the credits for this, it's just so many people that I look up to, and it's like, wow, this is really, really great. Like, it's awesome. Like, I really love it.
Yeah. And so, there's a video obviously on the Indiegogo page, and you talk about the story being very personal to you. And is that if you'd like to talk about that?
Yeah, of course. So all the stuff that I do is very personal. Please Don't Tap on the Glass. The book is insanely personal. There's little afterwards for each story that kind of give the behind the scenes. And when I wrote Dead Format, I was talking about how it was my father passed away, and my mom had a VHS tape of my and actually, so shortly after my grandmother passed away as well. And at the memorial service, wanted to play this VHS tape that had my grandparents renewing their wedding vows, but they did it at my childhood home. So we had, this is like 1992. So we had this tape, so I was digitizing it. My dad was in it, my brothers, my cousins. I mean, there's so many people in my life that I had lost, and they were all in this tape. And I heard their voices the first time in like decades, some of them. And seeing like the old house and everything, it was like an emotional tidal wave. It wrecked me. And I started thinking, it's like, back then you didn't have cell phones that could take video footage and stuff. Like, if you had video footage, it was a big deal. Yeah, we rented the giant shoulder mount VHS camera. Like, you guys remember, like, it was a big deal to film stuff. So it's like, there's a very good chance that this tape could have not existed. And the kind of the theme of the story and of the movie, it's like, if there is no like record, there's nobody left to remember this stuff. It's like, it just vanishes, and it's like you never existed. And it talks a lot about movies like London After Midnight and stuff like that just got lost forever. And, then we even go further on with VHS tapes. How many horror movies on VHS never made it to DVD, to Blu-ray? And it's like, they're just historical documents. It's art that's just completely lost to the ether. And that's terrifying to me. And like, so a large portion of this movie is about like home movies and the characters dealing with that sort of stuff with his dad. And just the idea that, like, kind of as an artist, what we're really trying to do is just kind of graffiti our name on the wall of infinity and just say, I was here. And that's where the historical records like that kind of come in. And it's like, right now, we can watch, people can go on, June 6th and see exactly what we were doing and how life was in 2024. But back then, it's like, it's gone. So that's kind of one of the major themes. But I wrote the story essentially just dealing with the grief of my dad and a lot of that kind of stuff, and also mourning the loss of the video stores. I mean, that was a huge portion of my life, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was probably a huge portion of yours as well.
Yeah,
you know
like, just discovering all those movies for the Castle Freak. You know, I saw the cover and I'm like, what is this? And my mom wouldn't let me rent it. So for like a year, I was fantasizing, what could this movie possibly be? And then I finally got to see it. And like, those are like the formative years, you know, when if I ask you what you think of a random, if I ask you, what did you think of In a Violent Nature? Your response, no matter how much we'd like it to not be like this, is influenced by other people on the internet and stuff. And it's cool to like something or not cool to like something. When you're 7, it just is. It's a pure, this is the stuff, you know? And that's what I'm trying to recapture, that feeling of walking down the video aisle. So making Video Castle has been just like the greatest dream of my life, is being able to design my own video store. It's like, and it's all castle themed because I live in Lecter, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Well, there's like 5 castle themed businesses in my town from the 90s. And it's just a weird thing. And I'm like, I have a 6-foot suit of armor downstairs. It's holding VHS tapes I made. Like, it's gonna. I'm so excited to do this stuff. I love set dressing and shit, and this has just been a blast to design all this crap.
Yeah. So you probably don't know, but Troy and I are brothers, and so this is up here. I have Creep Show and the Clam Show. And,
I have that edition too. Fantastic.
And it's the first VHS tape that my mom bought me in the 80s. And back then, VHS tapes were not cheap. It was expensive.
No. And that's your original copy?
Yeah. I'll be honest, the video inside no longer works. The tape's broken.
Well, of course.
But the clamshell's cool. So
my first VHS tape I ever got, that mine personally, I guess, was Dr. Five's Rises Again.
Oh, nice.
God.
Yeah, I fucking love that movie, right? So I was like 7. I walked into Kmart at Halloween time, and they had a cardboard display of a bunch of horror movies. And I saw that tape, and it was Vincent Price holding what I thought was his own head. It was actually just a mask.
That's the best.
But the coolest cover, I begged my mom, like, I will do all the chores, I'll do everything, just give me this movie. And I watched that movie obsessively. And then I made all my friends from my elementary school class, when they come over for birthdays, I make them watch that. And I look at it now, I just got the Arrow edition, and I'm like, I was 7, I'm showing kids this, like, weird 70s British, like, super dry comedy horror British movie, like, what the hell? But I wish I still had my original copy. I have since bought a new one, but I don't have my OG one, which is a shame. But I do have most of my VHS tapes when I was a kid, but not that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you're very lucky. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So you said like so were both your parents okay with you watching horror movies, or
the way my mom tells it, when we were doing, my mom worked on White Doomsday with me. So she was in a lot of the Q&As at the festivals. And she would say that when I was a kid, she thought I was either going to be a serial killer or an artist. And she didn't know which one it was going to be. So my dad didn't really care what I watched. My mom had this like mom radar where she just knew the moment to walk into the room when there was a topless woman. And I'm watching 80s movies, and that was pretty often.
Right.
So she just knew every time, and she'd yank that tape out of the VCR so fast. So she wasn't really wild about me doing it, but she never stopped me from watching. Aside from nudity, she didn't care what I watched. So, like, my younger brother ratted me out. I bought a used copy of Species at Blockbuster once, and my ass got grounded for a month after that. But so it took a while. My brothers were not into this sort of thing, so I was kind of the black sheep of my family. And my dad didn't really care what I watched. My mom wasn't super into it, but she would buy me. My birthday was in March, so she would wait till the day after Halloween, go to the Halloween store, and buy out all of their stuff, and then give
that's awesome.
Present.
That's fabulous. Yeah.
So I have like all these pictures of me as like a 7-year-old with a 7-foot skeleton, and like I'm dressed as Beetlejuice all the time, like all sorts. And she made me that costume. Like one year for Christmas, she got me a bunch of fake body parts so I could recreate scenes out of Chud. I had like my Goosebumps flashlight, and I'd shine them around pretending I found the cleanup crew in the sewer. So I was a weird kid. But she came around, and then as I got older and started doing more and more special effects stuff and film stuff, she started to get interested. And then when I made White Doomsday, it was actually she was in the hospital with kidney failure, and we didn't think she was going to make it. So I wrote the short story about watching someone you care about fading away and not being able to help them. And then she fortunately is better now. But so I wrote that story, and I think that really connected with her, and she ended up helping do the set dressing on the movie. And then she went on the fest circuit, met all the other horror fans, and then
That's
she
awesome.
kind of, she's like, I get it now, you know, I understand.
Wow.
So it's been a 30-year process, but she's interested.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I
Our
lucked
mom,
out. My little brother was into horror right away. So you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And our mom is too, and she didn't mind
Yeah.
me being 4 or 5 and watching movies I shouldn't be watching. But
That's the thing. I think it's the common thread with all of us is it's like, oh yeah, I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I was like 6. Like that's not a problem, is it?
yeah,
And it's just funny. Like other kids are going to see like Minions in the theater these days, and I'm like, yeah, I was watching like Pumpkinhead.
right, yeah.
Oh yeah.
She even signed a thing for the local video store that I could just rent, and I could rent anything. They still wouldn't let me rent NC-17, I think, after. But I know they probably didn't care. But yeah, I could rent it. And also, I mentioned this to my friend Annabelle the other night. She wrote me a letter once that it was okay for me to see R-rated movie at the theater, and I had it kept it in my wallet, and I never used it because I was never carded until I was like 40, and they carded me for what was it, Texas Chainsaw 3D, and that was the first time I was carded for a movie.
Wow. I like to think that was the theater attendant warning you not to go see the movie.
Yeah, they're
really
looking out for you. Yeah,
looking up for me. Yeah.
So the thing is, I look like I'm 12 years old, so I get carded all the time. I'm 37 and I get carded constantly. So when I was a kid, I looked like a fetus. So my mom sometimes did it. She did it for House of 1,000 Corpses, to her credit. But my dad would usually take me to the theater, buy 2 tickets, and then just walk out and wait in the car while I'd go and see whatever movie. So I remember I saw American Psycho in the theater, and there was like 6 people in the crowd. And when I come out, and he bought me a child ticket because I looked young enough. And this older couple comes out, and they had very clearly like read the book, and they're just like, "How old are you?" And I forget what year that was. I was like 12, and she's like, "Where are your parents?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're at home." She freaked out. Like, I want to talk to them.
Oh no.
Did she ever contact them on one?
No, I think after I was waiting for them to pick me up,
Yeah.
she lost her bluster after like 5 minutes, but she was very upset. And it's like, look, lady, I think eventually there comes a time in every child's life where they see a threesome to studio. Like that's just, it's a rite of passage. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Do
you remember like what your first video store was? Was it a mom and pop shop? Or?
So my video store, the place that I used to go to the most was Blockbuster because that was when it was in my town. I believe I never was able to confirm it, like historically what was there prior, but it was one of the independent franchise Blockbusters. So their horror section was massive, and I rented a Racerhead there. Excuse me. Videodrome, like they had a ton of like really, really off the wall stuff. So I used to go to there a lot, and then there was a local chain called A to Z Video and A to Z West Coast Video, which also turned into A to Z /Easy Tan. So it was a tanning salon / video store, which I thought that was just like a Lancaster thing. But when I started doing research for the video store set a few years ago, I found out that was a very common combination in other people's towns. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, here's we go tan. Here's like $5. Go rent something. This is an odd choice, but so I used to go to there, and then there was a place called Video Inc. I mean, I hit all the video sites. I don't know if you can tell. I used to haunt them. There was Video Inc. There was Movie Galleria. There was a place called Games Plus where they would sell you porn or mod your PlayStation 1 if you gave them $20 under the table. Okay. So there's a lot of, and he had laser discs too, which I thought fascinated me endlessly, that there was like LPs that had movies on them.
Oh yeah.
But then we had a Hollywood Video as well. But there's a lot of hate for Blockbuster right now at the video store nostalgia. They're like, it was an evil corporation that put other businesses, the mom and pops, under. I get it, but at the same time, I was like 10. Like I didn't know anything about corporate politics, and the thing is, all the mom and pops were trying to put each other out of business too. Like I feel that, I understand, but it's like when people talk about Blockbuster nostalgia, that's like a licensed product that you can now buy at Target. So I think that people really are just saying, I'm nostalgic for going to the video store.
Yeah, yeah. It's just whatever happened to be around them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so who gives a shit, right? It's like you should just be happy that they were able to experience going to a video store. As crappy as Blockbuster is as a company, like whatever, you know, we all got to rent Evil Dead and Friday the 13th Part 4.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that should that's the big takeaway from all of my video store research and stuff, is that we should just celebrate the era and not get into the politics of it.
Yeah, any place that had a big like full moon setup, you know.
Oh my God, yeah.
One end of the store, you know, you had to
like I rented Demonic Toys, Dollman vs. Demonic Toys, all the Puppet Masters. Like my Blockbuster had a killer selection, and I know that because I own them all now. I bought out almost our entire horror section when they went out of business. And it was funny. I remember I was in middle school. I had a celebration when I had more horror tapes than Blockbuster did. I had a bigger horror selection at home because I've always been a collector, and it was cool because like I used to rent movies out to people in high school. Then I used to bootleg tapes that were like no one could find and sell them at school. So when Battle Royale came out, I had a bootleg VHS of it from a convention. I spread that through my high school. Somehow I almost got kicked out of high school because they thought I was going to be a Columbine kid that liked horror movies. But they never said anything about Battle Royale, which is literally about high school kids gunning each other down. But,
oh yeah, it's so true.
But all that kind of ties into Dead format as well. Like that, there's scenes in the movie where he's archiving tapes and talking about like bootlegging and stuff. That plays a major plot point in there as well, just from my own personal history.
Oh, it's kind of weird along that kind of reminds me. I went to see not that long ago, Sarah Karloff, the daughter of Boris Karloff. She was at a local theater, and she had these old 35 millimeter videos of odd stuff from her dad, and a lot of it was from bootleggers. But they're also considered like there'd probably be no copies of these things if they
exactly. Like, what are you guys? I don't know if you guys are big readers or not. Have you ever heard of Richard Lehman, the horror author from the 80s? Mm-hmm. He wrote like basically imagine like pulp, like video store horror movies. Like that's basically what he wrote. So he wrote a book called In the Dark, which actually, if you read it, is kind of like a precursor to Saw, which is pretty funny. But they made a movie out of it. It's the only movie that they ever made out of any of his like 50 novels, and it was shot on VHS in like the mid 90s in black and white. And the movie, they ran out of money. They couldn't finish it, so there was only like a work print of it. And Brian Keane, our executive producer, Richard Lehman was a mentor of his, and he gave him a copy of the work print tape. Oh, wow. So a few years back, Brian's like, "Can you digitize this for me?" So it was the only copy available, and I digitized it and gave him. I made DVDs to give him and a couple of friends because Richard Lehman passed away. It is now on YouTube, and it wasn't from me, but it's crazy because it's got like tons and tons and tons of views, and people are like, "Holy shit! I didn't even know this existed." But it literally would have vanished completely. And if not for, I'm not saying I did this whole thing, but it's like if not for someone digitizing that, it would have just been gone. That tape would have rotted. Wow. And then it's like it never existed. And that's like a plot point in the movie. But it's just crazy how much stuff we're on the brink of losing. I don't think people understand why physical media is so important.
Well, I got to say, Mike, I was 56 years old when I found that out, because until you just mentioned it, I never knew. So that's pretty wild. Yeah,
check it out. It's on YouTube. It's good stuff. I wish that somebody could finish it one day. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Because this last weekend I went to the Coolidge, which shows 35 millimeter midnight movies, and the guy who runs was talking about they're getting harder and harder to get copies of, right, even from the studio. Just like some of them don't get returned, or like they get lost, whatever. And then some of the movies only have one copy of, and then like once it's gone, like they just don't have it anymore.
It's a shame. That's why I love all these boutique labels like Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow and stuff. They're restoring all these old movies because they're archiving it. It's history, When you get one of these special edition Blu-rays, it's like you watch something on streaming. Yeah, you can see it whenever if it's available. But it's like you get a physical piece of physical media, Blu-ray. It's got all the versions of it. It's got a commentary track. It's got behind the scenes. Like it's a full historical. It's like going to a museum and looking at an exhibit, but it's all packaged together in one thing, and it's so fucking important. And people they don't understand that. It's like, guys, if their art can just vanish, that's a thing, and it will happen, that's scary.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff now doesn't get a physical release, and it's only on streaming things.
That's exactly.
And then you wonder, well, what happens if that whole streaming site goes away, or they just decide we don't need this movie on our streaming site anymore? Like, what happens to it?
Well, and that's the thing is that there's so many movies like that and shows, and people are like, "Oh, I really want to watch the blah blah blah," and it's like, well, it doesn't exist on streaming, so it doesn't exist anywhere. And then imagine from the filmmaker standpoint, that's awful too. It's like, hey, my work is no longer available anywhere.
Horrible feeling, yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. And streaming is a double-edged sword. Like, the convenience of it is cool, and I see people like on Twitter, like a 13-year-old randomly puts on Shudder and watches Street Trash for the first time. That's awesome. Like,
yeah.
I'm really happy that the mall Chinese I had for dinner is not agreeing with me right now. That's awesome that they have access to all this stuff, because in a way that is kind of their video store. But streaming, I feel like, devalues the films, because you watch 10 minutes of 20 movies and turn them off, whereas when you rented something, like, you watch that damn tape.
You're going to finish it because you
rented that was your night. And sometimes that movie turned around and ended up being awesome.
Yeah,
but like, it was a different experience. You had to hunt for it in the wild. It felt, it was an accomplishment finding that tape.
And then you couldn't wait to tell everybody,
Exactly.
Like,
this is
everybody in your circle. You're like, oh my God.
Unless you had like a Fangoria or a Gore Zone magazine or something, you didn't know about this crap. And then I'd read about all these movies, and then I'd scour all the 20 video stores in the area and try to find, like, Killer Clowns from Outer Space was my white whale for a decade. We'd go on vacation to the beach, and I'd make my family go to every video store on the boardwalk trying to find a copy of this holy grail. And then it finally got re-released on VHS randomly, and the people that ran the Suncoast Video in my town that's no longer there, but I was friends with the manager, and she called me. She's like, hey, this movie came in. I think I've heard you talk about a killer something or those clowns, and I freaked out. And it was incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And it didn't live up to your expectations.
100%. And what's even better is the part when Grant Kramer, when they first signed the cotton candy cocoons, he pulls the pin off, and there's the skinned face, and he says, "It's Joe Lombardo." My little brother's name is Joey, so he was like 8.
Oh my God!
So scared. So I terrorized him with that for years. And then last year, I met Grant Kramer at a convention, and I had him record a video. It was my brother's birthday. That said, he goes, "It's Joe Lombardo." And I sent it to him, and he just replied back with a picture of him flipping me the bird.
I love that. That's amazing. I don't know if you play video games, but the game's coming out at some point.
The game is out already. I was watching a little bit of footage of it last night. My girlfriend's really big into that stuff, so I haven't played it yet. I don't really play multiplayer games very often, but I'm probably going to end up picking that up. That and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I really want to check out. And the guy, Damien Maffei, is a buddy of mine who was in White Doomsday. He plays one of the killers in the game. He did the voice acting for it, which is really cool. So now I have to play it.
Yeah. I haven't played video games in a long time, but it does look pretty awesome. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one. I have the board game for Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which one do you have? Do you have the Trick or Treat?
That's a good question, because I was looking which one to get when I got it. So I got the not the Funko one.
There was more than one. I didn't.
Yeah, there's Trick or Treat Studios.
Oh, okay. I heard that one of them is really good and the other one is really complicated and not great. And because I've been meaning to buy it too, and I don't know which one.
Yeah, I watch videos, and most people, the one I watch, they like both games, but I got the one that they actually use the real names of all the characters.
Oh, that's cool.
The Funko one it has like all like the victims, like they're not the real people from the movies, but the
okay, so it's licensed but not licensed.
Yeah, like it's got Leatherface and stuff, but not not the regular the other characters. But the Trick or Treat Studio one, it actually costs a little bit more. But it's got all the actual people from the movie.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and I also they're not paying me, but I also gave to their crowdfunder for the House of 1,000 Corpses game that's coming out.
I saw that. I was gonna back that. I have the Silent Night Deadly Night game over here. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but it looks awesome. And then I have Alien: Fate of the Nostromo. I played that like twice. That's really cool. You can play that single player. Actually, that game was really awesome. I was really impressed with the detail on that. I think it was like Raven Banner or Raven Crest or something.
Yeah, I think the same people who do the Thing game. I could be wrong, but
the Outpost 31. I heard that's awesome. I haven't played it yet.
I love that game. That's one of my. I bring it when I go to festivals or conventions, because you need at least 4 people, whatever. So, but it's so fun. Somebody may you have a group of people. As the game goes on, one or more of you can become the Thing. And if you are, you have to try to sabotage everybody else. And then like then you really start getting paranoid, and like you have to like lie if you are the thing. And then the first time we played it, and I still think about it, we voted to burn one of our friends alive in the game because we thought she was the thing, and then she wasn't. And then I was like, holy shit, we just killed like this innocent person. But,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Have you ever played the PlayStation 2 game?
I've not, but Troy may have.
No, not the. It was The Thing.
Yeah, The Thing. It was like a
did.
sequel to the movie. It's awesome. It's a little glitchy, but if you can track it down online somewhere, it's really good. You have to like you go and you're like a squad of soldiers that go into Outpost 31 to check out what happened, and then you find other people on the team, and then they're NPCs, but it's all random if they're infected or not. So then you have to like gain their trust by giving them weapons, and if you walk into a situation where there's creatures, if you don't shoot them fast enough, then they lose trust and they won't listen to you, and then you can blood test yourself in front of them to gain trust. It's really cool. It's fucking hard as hell, but it's really cool.
Wow. I never even heard of it. That's wild.
Yeah, that came out then. That was probably like 2003 or 4, I want to say. But it's definitely worth checking out. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's talk about like growing up watching VHS horror movies and stuff. Like I would have never thought as a kid like someday there'd be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game and My Bloody Valentine.
Like when I worked at Target, I would go. I was in charge of the fulfillment department, so my team were the ones that pick all the orders for like drive ups and stuff. I would get orders where people are buying like Freddy Krueger action figures or like Creepshow toys, and I'm like, man, this isn't a Target. When I was a kid. Like I had to go to the local like punk rock stores. Angry Young and Poor was the name of it, to get horror T-shirts from Rotten Cotton, or I'd have to go to a convention, and like that was where people would hand make merch, and you'd never see like officially licensed anything. And then when I was in high school, I saw like an Evil Dead lunchbox at the mall, and my head exploded. I'm like, what? And now it's everywhere, and it's just crazy to think how times have changed. Like, when I was in high school, my nickname was Evil Dead Kid because I had all these Evil Dead T-shirts. That I buy at conventions, and like now, literally, like at Walmart has it. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Yeah, like Walmart's got evil. I bought a Hellraiser 3 T-shirt at Walmart a few years ago at Halloween, and I'm like, what world is this? Like,
it's so whacked out. Yeah. Actually, I hate to say it, but Walmart always has a good selection of horror shirts on Halloween.
I love that they carry all the
stuff,
Yeah, the Shudder DVDs and stuff. Like Walmart's weirdly one of the last places you can get a lot of like new indie horror movies.
Yeah, and they have the cool like pre-releases at Halloween, like with cool different covers and stuff. Like it's just and Target has all. That's where to get like a lot of the toys. Like,
oh my god, the NECA section was huge. Although I will say I miss the days of like the McFarlane figures because they were a lot higher quality and they cost a fifth of the price.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree. It's
very I can't collect anymore. Like the new stuff, it's like $50, $60 for like a Leatherface toy or a Pinhead toy, and I'm like, I've got the entire set of old school Hellraiser figures. They were like $12 a piece,
right?
And they look better.
Yeah, I try to get for the NECA ones. I try to get the Universal Monster ones, but I would like to get them all. But I was like, it's just. If I know I start buying them, I'll be like, I have to get each one, and it's.
I hope you have a second mortgage.
Inner collector goes crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The inner collector goes nuts, and that stuff is like. When I was a kid, Universal Monsters were having a big resurgence in the early 90s, so I had a Universal Monsters party, and like everything was Gillman. The Creature in the Black Lagoon, I was obsessed. Actually, I have my original keychain from when I was a kid.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if the flashlight still. If he's a flashlight in his head, it doesn't work anymore. But I keep this on above my computer to remind me of where my roots are.
Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, this is back in the 70s. And Mego made like a series of Universal Monsters, and they had the Gillman, and he had like the cloth suit, like
from the Creature Walks Among Us.
Yeah, it was just so cool and stuff. So I went berserko for that stuff.
But
at that time, I never thought I would see the day when a video store would be like doling out. Any horror movie you ever wanted to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like that was kind of my like mind blown thing when I was like an early teenager, probably when I first saw.
Our grandfather had what was it, 8mm, the projector.
Oh yeah.
Super 8.
Yeah, so it was like 8 or 10-minute versions or whatever of like
but
these
no
50,
sound.
like
So it was,
yeah, and it was
just,
like
No.
like Robot Monster and that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
just
But
What I
crazy,
had as a kid is we had a little He-Man 45 player that had like story vinyls, and we put on little things, and it was like truncated versions of movies and crap. And we used to listen to
Oh,
those.
that's awesome.
yeah, we had a couple like Haunted Man. Well, it wasn't a. It was I don't know why, but I always liked that one. It was like the Haunted Mansion, and it came with like a book that you could look through it while it was
Yeah, and
playing.
Yeah, I
Vincent
was
Price
obsessed
might
with
have
too as a kid.
narrated that.
What was that?
I think Vincent Price narrated the
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he
so
did.
cool.
Haunted
Yeah.
Mansion one.
That's top tier right there. I love the sound effects cassette tapes, like the haunted
Oh my
houses.
God, the
I
best.
still have a couple of my old ones. I used to I turn all the lights off in my house, and then I'd set up all my horror props and like my toys, my Crypt Keeper doll from Tales from the Crypt,
Oh,
and I'd go around with my Goosebumps flashlight and I'd play that music on a little boom box and pretend I was in a movie, and then discover like a snake with a skeleton and stuff and pretend to be scared. And I was a weird kid.
Brian Haas says, "I'm dreaming of a white doomsday is the bar for no budget filmmaking."
Al, thank you, man. I appreciate that. It it was a labor of love, and I'm really happy. It's a very polarizing movie, but the people that like it seem to really, really love it. We had a really good festival run. We won a bunch of awards, and every year people come out and tell me that they watch it every year for Christmas. And then we made Bloody Disgusting, put it in their top Christmas horror movies last year, which is really awesome. So I'm very proud of it, but it's definitely not for everybody. It's incredibly depressing.
Where is it? Like, can you get the physical copy? Is it streaming?
Yeah, so if you want a physical copy, well, one, you can get it off the crowdfunder, the Indiegogo, but you can also get it directly from screamteamreleasing.com. I don't know if it's still on Amazon or not. It's streaming on Tubi if you wanted to stream. It's on Screambox, I believe, maybe Plex. I can't remember all the places it is, but it's around pretty much everywhere. But the crowdfunder, screamteamreleasing.com, you can hit me up personally. I've got copies. I just got a whole bunch of DVDs of it, but it's got a feature-length documentary about the making of. We shot pretty much day by day, like raw behind the scenes of me building all the props and doing everything. It's called Armageddon from the Cheap Seats, and I think it's better than the movie because it's just this, like, it's the guerrilla DIY like instruction manual how you can make a feature film for $10,000 and survive. So people have told me how much they love watching that, how inspiring it is, which made me happy because I'm a special features junkie. So to be able to do that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. That's the one thing, like streaming's cool, but I mean, I love listening to commentary tracks. Like, some of those are better than the movie, honestly. If it's
no, absolutely. And the thing is, hearing people tell war stories, like that's like crack to me. Yep. Like, I mean, and that was film school. Like, it's crazy now. When I was a kid growing up, I would read books about like how Evil Dead was made and Peter Jackson with bad taste. Well, actually, I just have Lord Crumb is not done yet, but he's on there.
I love it.
So he's coming there. Actually, love it. I got Beetlejuice. This is in progress right now, but then terrible with this camera. The Crypt Keeper with the puzzle box from Hellraiser, Little Pete from Pete and Pete, the '90s Nickelodeon show, Aliens, like all the inspirations I had, and then of course the Holy Grail is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah,
which I always have it with me now because that was a huge. Now I can literally wear my childhood trauma on my sleeve. But so reading books about all that stuff, and then, you know, as DVD came out and getting to actually see the behind the scenes footage was mind blowing. It's like, wow, these guys like J.R. Brickwater making like The Dead Next Door and Bad Taste and Evil Dead and Phantasm, like learning that these guys literally just got their friends together and made a movie in their backyard. It's like, you can do that. So I had my VHS camcorder. I was making little movies. One of the things we did when we raised 35% of the budget for the crowdfunder, I released my first ever short film, The Video Dead, that I made in high school on VHS and put it up on YouTube. So it had never before left the confines of my home. And I was like, well, here's 3 minutes and 48 seconds of pure unadulterated embarrassment. But, you know, I wanted people to see it. And so that was cool. It's like that was like it's like, this is what you do. You know, you can make these movies in your backyard. And Doomsday was just an extension of that, just a much larger scale and personally devastating.
Well, what's been the response for it like?
For The Video Dead?
Yeah.
People loved it. They were like, man, this is so cool. And, you know, there's little snippets of stuff that you would eventually see me doing later. I mean, I've been making films now for 20 years, like short films and stuff. So it's cool because I look at it and I see a very distinct evolution of stuff throughout all the shorts. And I haven't watched it in years because actually I have it right here, a dusty ass clamshell. But that was another thing. I digitized that because I'm like, it's already degraded. I wish I would have digitized it years ago. Not that the quality would have been any better, but I just, as a historical document for my own personal evolution, it's really cool for me to look back and see. It's like, you know what? This actually, I had some chops when I was like 13, I think. And I'm like, I had a basic understanding of how to string together a movie. I mean, it's not good by any means. It's on YouTube. You watch it, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
It's funny. It's my first attempt at makeup effects. I did my mom up and it's so stupid. It's so bad.
Puppy Flute says hello. She's from New Village Video, which is a great streaming site with all kinds of really weird independent horror films. So check that out.
Excellent. Hello.
Yeah, she's very cool. And the whole website's very cool. I saw Nathan from Genre Blast is involved in Dead Format. Nathan's great. I met him for the first time at Genre Blast last year, I guess.
He is Nathan is tremendous. Genre Blast is also one of my all-time favorite film festivals. Doomsday won Best Picture there, which was great. And then I was able to become a judge the year after for some of the horror stuff, which is awesome. Wow. And then Nathan is now one of the producers of the film, and he's actually helping me write the script. Because when I was expanding it from short film to feature-length film, there were some gaps, and he's really good at coming in and saying, hey, we need another character so we can fill in X, Y, and Z. So he's been a great help with that. And he's just a great person to have around. I mean, he's super morale boost. He's an encyclopedia of weird underground movies. Like, just awesome guy. Awesome festival. Just absolutely adore Genre Blast.
Yeah. No, it was my first time going. It's in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
It's at the Alamo Draft House. Actually.
Yeah. I'm on the Alamo Half. Yeah, I didn't even put that together, but it's good. Which is a great place, Troy. I don't know if you've ever been to an Alamo Draft House, but it's a perfect place for a festival because you get your food, your drinks, while you're watching movies, and
there's one in Boston now, right?
Yeah.
It's such a cool theater. You should absolutely go. You'd love it.
Yeah, it's the best chain theater by far.
Oh, okay.
Big time. And they do a lot of events. Like, I met Don Coscarelli when he had his book come out.
Sweet.
They did a screening of Phantasm and had him as a guest, and that was amazing. So
that's awesome.
I got to see that. I got to meet Jackie Kong. Blood Diner is one of my all-time favorite movies. So they when they did the Blu-ray, they had her on tour, and I got to meet her. I actually dressed as one of the cultists, and I made the hush puppy head that when they put the chick's face in the fryer. So I made that with the earrings, and she actually hired me to make one for her to take on tour. So I lost my mind. I have it in my living room. It's signed by her. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they even Troy, they even do weird stuff around us. They do a lot of brunches for weird, and not even just horror stuff. Like they did a brunch for I forget, we won the Dark Crystal, but something like that. It's I don't know, just a lot of fun stuff. And for the festival, like for me, I drink a lot of coffee, so I could get a never-ending coffee. I'd order it in the morning
that's
and
the
drink
way,
throughout the whole day, and it was
that's the way to go, man. And the never-ending popcorn buckets. Their food is really good too.
It is very good, yeah, really good popcorn. Honestly, they use real butter on the popcorn. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. And Genre Blast, which will be returning next year, I believe.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Took a year off. So, is it? Can it still be shown at Genre Blast then? Or is it maybe not up for award? I don't know how
it was. I mean, if we did screen it at Genre Blast at some point, it would definitely be out of competition, obviously, because Nathan is involved. But I'd love to screen it at the Alamo. I mean, we played The Brilliant Terror was a documentary about indie horror filmmaking that I starred in. And we played that played at Genre Blast, and then we did halfway to Genre Blast was like a little in-between thing. We played Doomsday there again and stuff. So I would love to just screen as part of Genre Blast something. I think that would be a lot of fun. Because the people there, it's like family, Yeah, I've been to so many of them, and it's this. When you're on the festival circuit, you get to know people really well because it's the same filmmakers running the circuit. So I made a lot of great friends, and Genre Blast is like a family reunion every time I go.
Yeah,
that's great. Things like that are the best.
Yeah, Troy's gonna get to one. I've loved them since I used to go to a lot of conventions, and not that I dislike them, but once I start going to festivals, I think it's a better fit for me, and they're great.
Well, I think for like festivals, it's looking forward instead of looking back. That's the difference between the two events. It's cool. Like you get to see stuff long before it ever gets released on Blu-ray, or if it even gets released. Sometimes you find gems. And I've run 3 film festivals myself and judged for a half dozen others, and I've seen so much stuff that never got released, which is a shame because it's excellent. But for every great movie you see out, there's 100 movies that you'll never watch that are just sitting in someone's shelf.
So true.
Yeah, say same thing on the show. Like you're going to see stuff before it hits Shudder, comes out wherever, and then there's always it's bittersweet because it's like, wow, that movie was great, and it's awesome that I get to see it, but it's also sad that like it never get released anywhere else. And it's also probably your only chance to see like short films on a big screen,
That's in the short. That's what I love about Genre Blast is the shorts blocks are just tremendous. Like, and I love that Nathan mixes everything together. So it's like you'll watch like a kung fu movie next to a sci-fi drama, next to a splatter flick. Like it's just so wild, and it's shit that I never would watch normally. But you just strap in, and it's just like, it's very cool.
And go along for the ride.
Yeah. And the good thing about the short thing too, let's say you get to one you don't like, it's short, so there'll be another one coming up soon. So
absolutely,
it's not like I got to stay here for 2 hours and maybe not be into this, but yeah, I did. Did you make? Were you going to festivals before you made anything, or did you?
So I was introduced to the festival circuit back in There was no festivals around me at the time, but I mean, my first like real film festival was probably Horrifying in 2009. I want to say we had a short film called Demonstration of the Dead that we did for a George Romero contest.
Oh, cool! Oh,
nice. And we went to that, and that was up in what is it called? Valley Forge, at the old Horrifying Hotel. But that was in Gettysburg. So we won the audience choice for that. We did like a whole zombie protest rally out in front of the theater and stuff with zombies on leashes, and it was a lot of fun. But I wanted to go to film festivals, but I couldn't because they didn't exist anywhere near me. So what I would do is I'd buy like the Trauma Dance DVDs and like the Fangoria Blood Drive, and like because this is pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would find short films that way, and then back in the MySpace days, I had a MySpace film. Real Splatter was one of the first MySpace films. So we had all these filmmaker friends. We would share each other's short films that way, and I got to see so much stuff back in that. Like there was like the Super 8 filmmakers of like Sam Raimi. Then there was the next wave was like the VHS filmmakers. Then there was the mini DV, like dawn of digital, and I was somewhere in the middle there. So I got to like experience all the like 2001, 2002, like all of the DV recorded stuff. So I have a lot of fond memories. I have tons of DVDs and stuff of short films that these people made, like indie stuff that is not available anywhere. And I just got mountains of it. I love it. It's like, man, I wish that they could just collect all of it into, it's like a time capsule.
Yeah, like an anthology kind of deal or something. But
yeah, it's just, there's so much cool shit out there. Like, yeah.
There's more platforms now for short films than there used to be, but there's still not a ton of them. But I do think
YouTube is good, but like people tend to, outside of a festival, people don't really pay attention to shorts. We released a DVD called Suburban Holocaust, Real Splatter Volume 1, and that was all of our old short films. And like we were ahead of the curve on that one. We did that back in 2010 or 11. And we were selling those at like conventions and stuff. And that was before that became kind of standard practice to do like collections of stuff. And I want to do another volume with all the newer Real Splatter shorts that led up to White Doomsday. But I need to do like one more short to fill out the length of it to make it worth it. But we're now doing a feature again. So that's obviously not going to happen anytime soon. But I love short films though.
I do too. So when we started the podcast, that's when MySpace was really big in 2006, and a lot of the guests back then were from like Adam Green. It was right before Hatchet came out.
And, hell yeah!
Facebook friends with them, and like, I'm going to come on and promote this movie. He's like, yeah, okay, cool. And I've tried to log into the old MySpace. It's there, but I can't even figure out how to log into it anymore.
I think someone showed me a few years back as it turned to like a music place, and then
pretty much just all.
It still had some of my old photos, but everything else was wiped. I met so many people through MySpace. That was the best social media. That was the golden era of social media, honestly. Like I met filmmakers all over the place. I was a 13, 14-year-old kid, and I was
That's
talking
pretty
to
wild.
real filmmakers and stuff, like the guys that made I saw Murder Party. I was obsessed with Murder Party. And, I used to talk to the Lab of Madness guys on there all the time, Macon Blair and Jeremy Saulnier and all that shit. Then they made Blue Ruin, then they made Green Room, and then, he's directing True Detective now. Like, it's just crazy. Like, that was people I used to talk to on MySpace back in the day,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot harder it's really hard to talk to people on, like, you can tweet to them, but, like, you have to pay for the Twitter thing to have, to be able to, message people, and it's just a different thing.
It's a pain in the ass. I'm not a fan of all that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Craig Lindbergh, who's FX artist. He's a cool guy. It's always great to hear a filmmaker's journey.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. I love hearing people's war stories about how they got into making films and stuff. It's we're all in this shit together. Right? The guerrilla underground. It's just so funny. Everyone has the same story, or some variation of it, but it makes me so happy because when I was a kid, I was the only person that was into this shit in the Tri-County area. And then as an adult, I was 17 when I met Brian Keane and Jeff Gonzalez, the two horror authors, at a book signing. And then I found out that half of the horror writing community lives in central Pennsylvania, which blew my skull apart. Now I'm best friends with all these authors. And it's like, man, I never would have known ever in my life that all these people randomly lived in this suburban hellhole.
That is one good thing about obviously social media has some bad things, but there are a lot of good things because it is like a lot of people grew up. You're the weird kid of your neighborhood. You watch your horror movies, maybe no one else did, or you have a few people. But then when you go online, you find all the other weird kids of their own neighborhood. And
absolutely true. We wouldn't be having this conversation about the internet.
Exactly.
I didn't know anyone else liked these movies. No one else loved Basket Case or whatever. Then you find out a lot of people did. So, what were some of your favorite movies, and made you want to I want to start making these movies?
So the big one's Dawn of the Dead. When I rented that absolutely changed my life. Completely changed my life.
Movie.
Yeah. Dead Alive, Peter Jackson. I rented that movie. I wore my VHS tape of that out. I had to get a new one. Evil Dead, obviously. Bad Taste. All the old Full Moon stuff. Trauma was a huge influence on me. John Waters, David Cronenberg, all that stuff. I was just huge into all of that. Any J.R. Brookwaters stuff, Dead Next Door, Skinned Alive, all that stuff I could find. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Chud was a huge one for me. And then Tales from the Crypt was a monster influence on me as a kid. So and then you mix all that with Leslie Nielsen spoofs were really big for me, and Mel Brooks movies. Growing up with my dad, I used to watch those. And then 90s Nickelodeon, Pete and Pete and Ren and Stimpy, all the weird. That's where I got my weird sense of humor. All that shit just kind of morphed together into this bizarre amalgamation of the type of stuff that I make now. So a lot of weird influences. Not a lot of books like Goosebumps and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and all that stuff. But I always I dug up a couple of my reports from when I was a kid in 3rd, 4th grade, and they all say I want to be a horror movie maker when I grow up. So it's I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Cool. I think some days when I get really down on myself, and I'm like, man, what am I fucking doing with my life? I think about it, and it's and I'm not saying that I'm not trying to be self-deprecating, but every artist feels this way, and I've talked to so many people that are far more successful than I, and they have the same feelings all the time too. Where it's if you're not making something, you feel like a failure. If you are making something, you're afraid you're going to fail at it. And then when you do make something, it's everyone's going to hate it. Or I'm never going to be able to make something as good as this last thing. So you're always in a state of perpetual anxiety. So it's a terrible way to live, but art and creating is a compulsion, not a choice. So when I get really down on myself, sometimes I sit and I think, if I could go back in time and talk to my 10-year-old self, I'd think I was the coolest person on the planet. And that makes me smile. It's no, I'm doing exactly what I said I wanted to do. I need to remember that. This was the pure, interest of me as a child. This is what I wanted, and now I'm doing it. So just calm down. It's fine.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
I mentioned Genre Blast, but what are your plans to do with Dead Format once you have it made? And
the festival circuit. So we want to try to shoot for some big festivals. So the Brilliant Terror documentary world premiered at Fright Fest, Arrows Festival in the UK. And my passport came 1 day late, so I could not go.
Oh shit, that's
still destroys me. It's like Alan Jones is tweeting like, "Where's Mike? We want Mike." I'm like dying, and he said to the directors, he said, "Tell Mike to make a movie we can screen at Fright Fest." So, Alan, if you're listening to this, please, I hope you like that format, because I would love to world premiere there. We'd also love to play like Sigis, Fantasia, Fantastic Fest, Fantaspa. I mean, these are big dreams. You know, we'll see where it ends up. But I mean, if I could do one of those, I would die happy. So hopefully we can get that. And then there's so many film festivals that played White Doomsday that I would love to play at again. And, you know, I know so many festivals now that I wasn't aware of before. So, you know, places like A Night of Horror in London is really great. Crimson Screen down in South Carolina, a huge fan of. I mean, there's so many. Like, I can't wait to get back on the circuit and to see all my buddies again. Like, it's been way too long.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. So like, obviously, you named some of the big ones, Citrus, and I've never been to Citrus, but I've been to Fright Fest, and those are awesome. But there's also something really special about, I don't want to say smaller ones, but, you know, ones where it's like one screen and everyone's watching stuff together. Like, you know, there's more of a community feel to those. And
I'll tell you that some of the best screenings I ever had for Doomsday had 12 people in the crowd. Like, I love going to small, and I ran the horror. We had the Lancaster Film Festival. I was in charge of. There's a whole night just of horror stuff. I ran that for years. I did the Scares That Care Film Festival.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I know the guy who started that.
Great people.
Yeah, I did so much stuff like that, and I love playing to smaller crowds and having like more intimate festivals, because you get to see stuff you wouldn't see, and then when the filmmakers are there, you really get to know people and talk to them in the audience. Like, when we world premiered White Doomsday, it was at Nightmares Film Festival in Columbus, Ohio. And when I always tell this story, when the movie played, I'm so used to doing horror comedy, so I thought that everyone would be laughing, even though I knew Doomsday was a very serious movie. But when it ended, like, almost nobody clapped. It was just, they started a slow clap and it stopped, and I was like, oh God, I fucked this up. And then I walk up and everyone is crying, and I was like, oh my God. And then afterwards, people are coming up and hugging me, complete strangers, like, wow, this was so emotional. I lost my son or my brother or my wife. Like, I understand this, and blah, blah. And I had these most beautiful conversations with people. And all the smaller festivals, I got to, like, really sit and talk to people about why we made the movie and, like, really get into the nitty gritty. And then some of the bigger festivals we played, it was more like, hey, go onto the step and repeat, get some pictures. We're going to do some sound bites for interviews. And then you move on. And, like, it wasn't as personal. And I mean, bigger festivals mean more press coverage, and that's great. But I love, like, sitting and just talking to people for a couple hours. That's my jam, you know?
Yeah. And like you'd mentioned earlier, but when you go to the ones that over a couple times, you see the same people, and there's a real community feel to that. And everyone's really supportive. Like, oh, what are you working on now? And then, you know, people will get together and collaborate on stuff together.
Well, all my producers, I met them all. I met all my producers at festivals. Like, it's crazy. Like, people are like, man, I love this. I love your work. And there was a mutual respect. Then we became friends, and now we're collaborating, you know, 7 years later. It's great.
Yeah. That's how I started making stuff with Michael Epstein and Sophia Cassiola.
Oh, they're staples of all the festivals. They're great people.
Yeah. So, yeah. And if anyone out there has no inclination to do that, like we said earlier, just go and you get to see stuff before it's out, and stuff that you might never see again. There's never ending reasons.
It's a win-win, I think. Yeah.
Well, and you get to meet the filmmakers. That's the biggest thing. You can watch a movie in your living room. Yeah, that's cool. But when do you get to shake the person's hand who made the movie or ask the questions? Like, you can argue with your friends about what the end of that movie was supposed to mean all you want, but you can literally just ask the person.
Right.
Have a drink with them, eat a cheeseburger next to them. It's so cool, you know?
Yeah. Like in A Violent Nature that you mentioned earlier. You could sit around and what did that long ending mean? Did you see In A Violent Nature?
I did. I liked it. I know that there's a lot of mixed reviews, but the thing that drove, without getting too far into this, because this is a whole nother animal, but I think that it was a very unique idea. I liked
100%. Yeah.
The idea of it. It kind of reminded me of Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Oh, yeah. We said the same thing.
Which is great. I think that's cool. But people are like, it was so boring, and it was just a 45 minutes of walking. So when I went to go see the movie, I thought it was going to be super slow. There is a kill like every 7 or 8 minutes. It's paced exactly like a slasher movie, except you're not seeing all the dumbass dialogue from the 35-year-olds playing
I
19-year-olds.
appreciated that.
That's the only difference. And I'm like, you literally oh, there's no character development. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what Friday the 13th movie are you talking about?
Right. The great.
Like, I'm rooting for them to die. Instead, I got to see the killer doing his thing. I thought that was fascinating watching I always thought, what would Jason do in between kills? What's he doing? I think that there was room for them to do more interesting stuff. Like I saw someone leave a review that I thought was really interesting where they're like, I wanted to see him like hanging bodies up for the people to discover and more of that.
That's always the best thing of Friday the 13th is the reveal when they're running around.
The dead body gauntlet.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I think that would have been really cool to see some more of that. But I mean, honestly,
but you got a little
where he's like walking around. It's only a couple minutes at a time, and it's literally no different than any other slasher movie with the content and the pacing. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, and they're like, oh, the characters were so annoying and all this stuff was so dumb. And I'm like, honestly, and this is going to be controversial, I'm like, this is no fucking dumber than any other slasher movie that everybody thinks is a masterpiece. They're all stupid as hell. They are. They truly are. This is no different. So I don't know what they expected, but.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was.
So I saw it twice, and the first time, I will say, the first time I saw it I didn't read what anyone thought, and so I did feel I was like, probably could use less walking, and my friend Annabelle absolutely loved it, but afterwards I just kept thinking about it, and I was like, well, that's a good sign because it's not a movie I just totally forget about or anything.
Exactly.
And there was definitely stuff I really loved in the movie, and it looks great and all this stuff, and so then Troy and I went to see it yesterday. And I liked it the first time, but I liked it even more the second time when I kind of knew, like,
you know what you're getting into, and you can start to actually like sit and appreciate it. And I love that Steven Konstanski did the effects for it, the guy who made Psycho Gorman and The Void. I saw that in the credits, and I'm like, fucking A.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
he's
cool.
been on the show multiple times. I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I fucking love his stuff. Super cool.
Yeah. Because the slasher had the greatest look about him. I loved it.
Yeah, I love the mask. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yep.
Yeah, the mask is great. And then
I think I might have
been
ready for it because Neil had warned me. He's like, just be prepared because there's a lot of walking through the woods.
And it didn't seem as
I think I was already ready for it. So
and the second time I actually didn't even bother me the second time. So it was just, but I don't know. It's definitely, I think all horror fans should check it out.
It's unique. And honestly, I went to go see it partially just because I wanted to support an indie film getting a theatrical release. I think that's important. Like I saw the TV Glow, same deal. You should go out when those movies are getting limited theatricals. Go out and see them. Don't wait for streaming.
I thought about you actually that movie when you showed the tattoo because it's very it's not scary stories to tell, but it's got that 90s nostalgia feel, which is and actually Little Pete from Pete and Pete and Big Pete from the show are in the movie. They cameoed, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Michael Morona and Danny Tamborelli are in the movie, so that was really cool. So it was very much of my era of kids TV and stuff. There's a lot of references to Pete and Pete and Are You Afraid of the Dark and that kind of stuff, which is definitely like the shit that I grew up with. But
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I think that's a good point. I was saying in the show, like people are always saying like, oh, all they make is remakes. And it's like, no, they make a lot of stuff. And I go see it. And if you guys don't go see it, then they're not going to keep releasing it.
Absolutely. That's the thing. You vote with your dollars.
Yeah. Yep.
If you want to see different movies and different takes on things, then go. And I'm not saying this because I'm running a crowdfunder right now. Please donate. But there are so many movies out there that are trying to get made and people are crowdfunding. Go out and donate to this stuff. You never know. One of these projects could end up being your new favorite movie. And you got to help make it happen because the studios aren't going to fund the shit that you want to see. It's not going to happen. Yep. They're only going to fund stuff that's a guaranteed moneymaker. And that's just a reality. That's fine. Blockbuster movies are fine if that's what you're into. But you're not going to see subversive, weird, unique stuff unless you go out and seek it out and support it. If you watch everything on Netflix, the filmmakers are getting screwed. I'll tell you, I personally, Doomsday, when we, first off, when we went on Amazon Prime, after the Blu-ray had been out for a while, our physical sales dropped to nothing because everyone watched it for free on streaming. And then when Bloody Disgusting posted it in their top Christmas horror movies this year, I was so excited. I'm like, man, we're going to make a killing off of this, which, it's not about making money. It's about getting it out there. But, money is nice and it helps us make a movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, this is going to be great. I got my royalty check from streaming. I made $78 for that quarter, which when I broke it down, that means over, I think something like 16,000 people watched it, and I made $78.
Wow.
It's disgusting. You get paid
That's
literally
depressing.
Amazon Prime when you watch a movie. The filmmaker gets
depressing.
1 penny per hour. It's
Wow.
it's terrible. So I mean, I'm not saying like it's not the audience's job to. It's just like the Blockbuster argument. You know, you don't care about the corporate politics. You just want to see a movie. That's fine. I don't judge anybody for watching things on streaming. But if you want there to be independent film, you need to support it. Vote with your dollars. If you don't want to see fucking Halloween 78 reboot, then don't go to see it. Watch an indie movie, you know? Like stop hate watching shit to bitch about on the internet and support stuff that you think is actually cool.
And probably 95% of the stuff that we've seen on like limited release, I've ended up loving. Like, it's very rare.
And there's a lot of shit out there too, absolutely. But it's the Russian roulette you play.
That's the same thing with VH. People have nostalgia, like, you know, for VHS, but not everything we rented was a masterpiece. There's a lot of stuff, but
covers are a lie, and
but
that's what made it so exciting. You never know. It's like it's literally like playing Russian roulette with your weekend. It's like, man, I hope that there's one in the chamber.
You got the cool Richard Corbin, like, you know, painting on the cover, and then get home and it's like, wow, this was terrible.
Oh, it's like, wow, this was actually a 60s movie they repackaged and changed the title on. It's like, wow, that's terrible.
Put a Bernie Wrightson cover on it. Or
that's what always annoys me online when people are like, is this movie worth watching? And they'll spend like an hour, like 2 hours, like, should I see this? And I'm like, just go watch it. You could have watched it by now. And
absolutely.
And everyone has different tastes. I don't know if you're gonna like it. Maybe you won't. I don't know, but I've seen plenty of movies I don't like. It's not the end of the world, and I'll see many more movies I don't like. It's
absolutely. And like that's the thing. You don't know until you check it out and you watch it for yourself. And you know, you shouldn't let anyone else's opinion of a film distract you from seeing it or not seeing it. Like, just talk about it afterwards, but go and see the stuff.
Yeah,
that's half the fun, though, is going to see it and then talking about it. Like,
absolutely.
We saw Satanic Hispanics, and like I ended up, I loved the fucking
I was really happy that played at our theater near us. Yeah, and there's been a lot of weird stop motion played in Boston. I don't know,
man. I'm so excited to see that. And then I know that Takashi Miike has a new movie that came out this weekend, Lumberjack the Monster.
Oh wow!
So I'm like, shit, that came out of nowhere. That's a Netflix exclusive for some reason. I'm like, okay,
nice.
So I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I saw there's a Korean horror movie that comes out this week, but I had seen it in Boston in the theater, because we're lucky they do show a lot of weird stuff in even at the AMC for some reason they show a lot of weird stuff at the one I go to. I forget the name of it now. Exuma, and that was really good. So
I haven't heard of that. I'll check that out.
It comes out this week streaming somewhere. I'm not sure, but I would check it out. I like most Korean horror movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my buddy Wes is starting to get really into the Korean stuff. Nathan from Genre Blast is huge into Korean cinema, so he's always recommending good stuff.
Crystal said she's going to watch Lumberjack tonight.
Nice.
Oh, awesome! Crystal Cook is one of our supporters, our backers on Dead Format. She's been awesome and been promoting the hell out of the campaign because she rocks.
Yeah.
So thank you. And let me know how Lumberjack is. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. And I think, some people hate the movies. That's fine. But Terrifier, and some people love them. Terrifier 2 was really helpful to a lot of these independent horror movies getting released.
That got theatrical. That was a success story. I'm not a fan personally, but I love that it exists.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so cool that they were able to get a theatrical screening for both movies. Like, that's great. Like, fucking A, man. That's the dream. Like, keep at it.
Yeah. And I have to admit, it was really fun going to see it in the theater. And I saw some people walking out because I was like, they think they're going to see like a normal, I don't know what movie they thought they were going to see. And then there's like this never-ending death scene. Yeah, and there's a never-ending death scene. People are like getting up and like, this is probably not the movie for you. Which was, I probably shouldn't feel that way, but it was kind of fun to see that reaction. But there's even been some more mainstream movies I think are really weird, much weirder than they used to be. That get released.
Well, I mean,
like Malignant was very weird. I thought for
companies like A24 and stuff, they're putting out things like people are much more willing to engage with weirdo shit now than they used to be, and that's great. I think that it's a pretty cool time to be a movie fan. There's a lot of different stuff coming out, and studios. I feel like the blockbuster movies are starting to tank more and more because if you spend $6 billion on a movie and then another $2 billion on marketing, and it doesn't make $10 billion in the first weekend,
then
but
it's a
if you
failure.
make,
Okay,
you see this stuff like it only made $400 million, and it's a failure. It's like, okay,
yeah, it's like, oh, it's a flop, and it's like, well, it cost $1 billion, but if you take a $150,000 movie, that can make a ton of money in the theater, and it makes its budget back. Like there's no mid-level genre cinema anymore playing in theaters. It used to be
that's true.
like now you only see something like Skinamarink, which costs like $5,000 or $5 billion, and there's no in between. But I think we're starting to edge into like a little bit more of a middle ground because some of these streaming places like Shudder and all that kind of shit and A24, they're realizing that there is definitely a market. People will go and see the stuff in the theater, and you don't need to make $1 billion to make a profit. You can fill in the gaps of the tentpole releases, and that's really cool,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's another thing that they don't just show, like I said about remakes and stuff, but I also show people like, oh, there's only the MCU movies at the theater, but there isn't. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 a year. There's plenty of other movies that get released that you can go see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just look for them. Don't just sit around and complain.
Yeah.
Which I get that too, but So Video Castle, you said like there was all these castle themes in your town. So
yes,
I like how you came about that, and it looks great. It looks like something that would have been around in that era.
Well, so we designed the T-shirts to look. It even has the locations like Lancaster, York, Harrisburg, the local chain.
That's badass.
These are the employee of the month perk. You can get one of these T-shirts, and they'll look a lot nicer than this. This is like a crappy prop version. And then the back of them says, make tonight a movie night. That's our little logo guy. Yeah. So, and then we have, like I said, I have a 6-foot suit of armor I found on Facebook Marketplace.
I have to get some because those are really cool.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, it's we wanted to go with like the idea for the logo. It's like we need this to look like it would be a local pizzeria, like sponsored the baseball team. And they got like their shirts. That's the design aesthetic that we wanted. And I think that my buddy Julius nailed it. It's like he showed me that logo. I was like, oh my God, we made it. We got a fake neon sign made for Video Castle, and we went all out with this stuff. It's been so much fun. And then I told my girlfriend, she's so happy with me that I have all this shit sitting in our house now. Because I have video store shelves from an actual video store that went out of business when I was younger. And I had them set up in my living room with some of my tapes on them with the clamshells behind it. And she's like, what are you going to do with this stuff when the movie's over? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's going to live here where it's at right now. And I feel like eventually I'm just going to have to open Video Castle. It's like, well, this is just going to be a thing because I have literally everything. I have an 80s cash register in my kitchen right now. Like, I've been collecting props for this movie for the past 5 years. Like, I've been planning this forever. So I have so much stuff. And it's like, yeah, this is just going to live here now.
Yeah. Never mind. Troy, what was the when we were younger, it was our neighbor. He lived in Texas and he'd come up here during the summer.
Oh, Howard.
Howard. And he went around and he would buy all the VHS tapes at all the yard sales and old video stores. And he had his whole basement just filled with them. And I assume he passed away because he was pretty old. And that was 20 years ago. Yeah. But I always wondered what happened to all his VHS tapes because he would let us pick out a few to help him when we would help sort through them. But
that's awesome.
I always take a bunch of the weird horror stuff. But I was wondering what happened to him because he had like thousands of them. I don't even know why he bought them, like what he did with them. But I think it was just something to do.
Ever watched them, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just something for him to do. He's an old retired guy, and he's like, I'll go buy up all these VHS tapes. I guess
he's doing the Lord's work.
Exactly. Yep. So I'll be honest, when I watched the Indiegogo campaign, I looked up Castle Video. I was like, is that a real place? It probably isn't. But I'm gonna look it up just to.
Someone actually commented once and said, they're like, I had a Video Castle in my town. I'm like, no fucking way, really? But it obviously wasn't anything like ours. Ours is like ridiculous, but I was like, man, that's so cool. But like, I mean, really, when I was doing research, I have like 10 books of like memoirs of people's video store experiences, like working there and stuff, and documentaries. I've been absorbing as much as I could to get the set dressing down, and pretty much any combination of words that involved video was a store at some point. There was video aardvark is one of them that I found, and I'm like, what in the hell? So actually, I'm sorry, Aardvark Video, and I think that the reason is because it's double A, so it'd be first in the phone book. So you get like A1 video and stuff.
When
you see a lot of that
Redbox,
stuff.
when
That
Redbox
was Google SEO back in the late '80s. You know,
when
to be the first in the phone book.
When Redbox was real big, and filmmakers would tell me that like it would go off medical, I would always suggest, well, why don't you make a movie called Aardvark? And it would have been right at the top of Redbox all the time. And
yeah,
I just was an idiot, but I was like, oh, I think it's a good idea. But our was Zoom video. I think. Oh no, what was the family-owned one, Troy? Do you remember?
Oh, it might have been Zoom.
Maybe it was. It was. I remember the family owned it, but the first one that we went to though was Curtis Mathis, which we had to drive a little ways to get to. But what was weird about it was, it was the early or mid '80s. Mid '80s, I guess, and you had to go and write down the number of the movie you wanted. So you wouldn't just bring up a tape; you had to like write the number. And so I remember going with my mom. Yeah, and she'd have like a list of all these numbers, and you'd have to give the numbers, and they'd look if it was up, and even at the time, I was like, there has to be an easier way to do this.
So I remember a lot of them, like the stores that around here always had it was always like the clamshell with the box in front. That was how most of the stores were here.
Yeah.
There was one or two that had just the tapes, and they had a number, and then you would go and they would go behind the counter and pull it down. And they had them all labeled, but that was not as common when I was there. I saw one guy was telling me that he had like it was almost like a little keychain hanging. It was little hooks with the box, like they cut out the front of the box and put it on the wall with a little thing hanging, and you would take it up to the register, and if it was missing off the hook, you knew the movie was rented out. And I was like, that's really weird.
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, I think Zoom just had the videos in the thing, and they didn't have the clamshell or anything. It was just that if it was there, it was in stock, and you rented the actual movie.
All the ones that I remember, they were shrink wrap with foam inside, and then that's why we were doing all the boxes like this for the perks, because like you can set up your own video display.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they had like
it was a great idea until I realized that I had to hand cut all the pieces of foam with
interesting, yeah.
A hot knife. It smells so bad when you're melting styrofoam. I hate it. I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I make this harder? And I had to shrink wrap them, which smells awful as well, and it's so time consuming. And we're like hand cutting and folding. I'm literally, when people buy this stuff, it's handmade by me. Like, it's not, we didn't purchase this stuff done. This is literally all me by hand making this crap. So
that's a good point now, because I didn't think about it, but it's like, I don't know if maybe there is a site, I don't know, where you could buy like specific
that's a good question.
styrofoam, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing.
Well, I'm glad that you went through all that too. That makes them even more special, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah. And so I mentioned the Indiegogo, and there'll be the link everywhere. How else can people follow you to see what else is going on with Dead Format? Or
mostly I'm most active on Facebook. So if you just look up Mike Lombardo on Facebook, my picture is me with a VHS tape or skeletons or something horror related. You'll be able to find me pretty easy. There is a Real Splatter Facebook page. I don't use nearly as much because the algorithm strangles me all the time. But that's facebook.com/realsplatter, realsplatter.com, which I update very infrequently, but that's our actual website. I am on Twitter/X, whatever the hell they call it now, as Real Splatter. YouTube, Real Splatter. You'll find me, like I said, all over the place. Just Google my name. Just don't click on the news articles about the pedophile YouTube musician Mike Lombardo. That is not me. Different person.
Not to laugh about that, but
very, very well. I was on a show last week, and they were like, "Yeah, when we booked you, we were like researching you, and we got really scared because." And I'm like, "No, God, no." They're like, because you guys both have glasses, you're both like YouTube people, and I was like, and he's about the same age as me, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not, and he's very, very famous, so he's like the top result. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Couldn't you have a different name, you piece of shit?
He wasn't like a son of like Guy Lombardo or something, was it?
I have no idea. It's lucky for me. Yeah. But yeah, I'm all over the place. So you can check that out. But I'm going to try to keep the Indiegogo page updated as the production goes on for all the backers and stuff. But the best place to find info, honestly, is my personal Facebook page.
All right, well, let's check that out. And yeah, we'd love to have you back when dead format's like done or closer,
Yeah,
or however
absolutely.
you want to do it. Yeah. And I look
Yeah.
forward to seeing. I'm gonna go and check out your other stuff because
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig that up now. That's great.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, ScreamTeamReleasing.com has I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday on Blu-ray and DVD. They did a VHS run, but it's sold out. If you guys want to be absolute angels out there, you can buy a copy of Doomsday directly off the crowdfunding campaign. You get it signed. Realsplatter.com has copies of Suburban Holocaust, which is my old DVD of all the short films. That's only available on there. I might throw that up on the Indiegogo at the last week just as a bonus, but who knows? I only have like, I think 100 copies of that left, and then it's out of print forever. But yeah, the book on that all the stories are in, Please Don't Tap on the Glass, is available on Amazon or on the crowdfunder.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all good stuff, or so I'm told.
Yeah.
Every dollar helps, every share helps, every donation helps.
Oh,
We
yeah.
still have, I think we have 23% left to go with 16 days. So, now is the go time. So if anyone out there is considering donating, please do. And donate to other campaigns too, not just ours. There's a lot of cool movies out there that will not get made unless you guys support it. So
I appreciate
check
you
them out.
saying that, and I see you post that as well. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, I try to support. I mean, people support me all the time. I try to pay it forward and spotlight other people whose work I think is cool. There's a lot of great filmmakers out there. So there's room for all of us.
Yeah, it's really fun to talk with you.
Yeah, it was great, man. I'm super
thanks a
happy
lot.
to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Come back
See you guys.
anytime.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll talk
right,
soon.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll kick you out just because sometimes it's awkward. But anyway, Mike was great. That was awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And a little bit later on, we'll have Ariane Louise Sees from the Humanist Vampire Seeking Suicidal Person, I believe is the name of it.
Whoa, okay.
Might even be a longer title.
That.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, that one was pre-recorded because of the time difference in another country. But it was a cool interview. So that'll be on a little bit later. But Troy, we went to see, as we mentioned with Mike, we went to see In a Violent Nature. So my second time, I liked it the first time, but I did think the walking got a little tedious. But the second time, I really appreciated it a lot more.
Yeah, I'm sure then you could kind of check out things that, like, as he was walking, like, oh, I never noticed, like that giant wound in the back of his head or
No, I
something.
mean, it looks, all that stuff looks cool. It just didn't even bother me really,
No.
After knowing that was, that was going on. Actually, even talking to Mike, I think he said some interesting stuff, but like, when you're watching those kind of movies, what is Jason doing?
Yep.
And I agree 100%. Like I enjoy all those movies, but they're not like I'm not watching The Godfather like level like dialogue and stuff. So
yeah, see, that's one of the things I enjoyed the most. I thought it was a real unique take, and I liked the fact
it's shot really well. Looks great.
Oh yeah, it like production value, great. Like the look of everything, all the kills are perfect, and I like the fact that they cut out a lot of like the unnecessary like kids hanging around talking about stupid shit.
Yeah, smoking weed, having sex, whatever. I don't really care about that either.
Yep.
So, and there was a lot of shots when I watched it the first time. I was wondering how they pulled off. So I was watching again the second time, and a couple of them I could actually see like a minor, where it cuts a little, or like I was like, oh, but there's a lot of almost all the kills are done in camera, which was really impressive. And it's practical effects. So you could tell like there's weight there with the bodies and stuff. So it's a really good movie. And we've had some like I'm a Terrifier fan, so we've had like I think some really good slasher films, not just horror movies, some slasher films. And what's interesting though, even though I like the Terrifier movies, the Terrifier 2 had so many over the top kills. After a while, you are desensitized to them. And I don't mean desensitized like I'm not scared or whatever, because I'm not scared of movies, but it's no longer like, oh wow, like because you've seen so many. And then after a while, besides like the real long one, you don't kind of forget them. And I think this was smarter to not do a couple more like off camera a little bit, then you have a couple that are like on camera and you really see them. And I think that was smart because then those ones really stuck in your memory.
Oh yeah, and some of the things are great because they'll do one like if he kills two people, like there's that one great one where he throws the axe and then slowly walks over and you can hear the other person like
Yeah,
crying in the background,
yeah,
and then you see the axe sticking out of the guy's head and he just
yeah,
walks over and that I loved it.
yeah.
The kill scenes and actually I like the whole movie. I thought personally the very end took me out a little bit, but
Mhm.
other than that, like I really liked it.
The very end breaks, kind of the rules of the movie because it's no longer through his view.
Yep.
The end works for me, seems, similar to the end of No Country for Old Men, and, I don't know, it worked for me, the end. I also think
Okay.
that the last scene has the most tension in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can see that.
I could see maybe the very end of that doesn't work for some. I don't know, it worked for me, but
Yep.
it's a really well done, interesting movie. It's not,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and it
I
stuck with me. It's
recommend it
something
to
I thought
everybody.
about.
Yeah.
It's not something I just like watch and then never thought about it again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't just like kind of your fun throwaway. This one was like
No.
actually well thought out and well done. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was
So
happy we saw it.
Rye Barrett will be on the show in 2 weeks from tonight, who plays Johnny, the killer in the movie.
Oh,
So
he's
that'll be
so
cool.
good. Just like his pacing, like just
Yeah.
everything he does in there looks like legitimate. Like I really, really liked him in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so maybe this will become a franchise. We'll see more of them. We'll find out. But it's very cool. All right. So this weekend we'll actually be recording a Sarah Karloff interview. Annabelle's going to be on for that one,
Oh,
and so
nice.
that'll be up next week sometime.
Look forward to that.
I'm not sure if it'll be on the live show or I don't know. We'll figure it out. But subscribe here on YouTube, and if you're watching wherever, Facebook, Twitter, this is being streamed everywhere. Twitch. Go to the YouTube on Without Your Head. Subscribe. Hit the like button. If you'd like to help out the show, you can join the Nation of Decapitation. Starts only $4 a month. Or you can Venmo Headyverse if you would like to make a donation. Or you could super chat here. If anyone super chats tonight, I will send you a sticker, a Without Your Head sticker for thank you. And I'll also throw in a couple random horror stickers that will be picked out randomly.
Ooh.
Beep, beep, beep. So there you go. All right. So let's see. The Watchers opens this weekend, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Now one like I should know better, but I think it
I
looks
know.
cool from the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time I really liked one of his movies, but I always go and see it. And this one, I do think the trailer looks cool, so I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Gives me a little bit of that like the Village vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
I
know
was
we
not a
like, but not
fan.
everybody was. Oh, I thought you liked it.
Yeah,
No?
no, I didn't like The Village. I like the
Oh, I
one
thought
that
you
no one
did.
liked there about the water thing.
Oh, that's right. I like that one too. The
Yeah,
Lady Water. Is that what that was called?
yeah, Lady of the Water, something like that. But yeah, no, I did not like The Village. Uh-oh,
Oh, okay.
am I here?
Yeah, we started to zip
Can you
zap
see
a
me?
little bit there. I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I went. Yeah, I was pulling up. They list some new movies on bloodydisgusting.com. I was going to read some of these new movies that are out this weekend, but
Oh,
for some
sure.
reason, when I do that on my
Oh,
laptop, it destroys the stream. So let me
oh,
I'm just going to pull them up on my phone.
that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. So I apologize if I'm reading off my phone here, but so let's see. Coming up, I mentioned earlier, Exuma. It had a theatrical release in March, which Annabelle and I went to see, and we really liked it. Korean horror movie. I like watching a lot of these foreign horror movies because not only are they like good at, as a movie or whatever, but you see a movie from a different culture, and so they have like
Yep.
different, a lot of them like have different looks on like spirits and ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
I
I
like this
noticed that
stuff.
a lot with like a lot of the Chinese like horror movies. Like their spirits are like a lot of kind of vengeful spirits, but they usually come at you in different ways and more like American ghosts.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And there's also just stuff about like how the culture itself, because in an American movie, a lot of those kind of movies, part of it is, people don't believe it, and then you got to convince them that it's real. And then some of these other cultures, they just already believe in in spirits and supernatural and curses, and so that's not even part of it that they have to be convinced that this is real. So I don't know if that kind of stuff's interesting to me.
Oh, yeah. It's always fun getting somebody else's take because then a lot of the times you'll get some new and exciting things that way. So
Yeah.
it's always good to keep an eye open for different stuff in the world.
So let me grab where that's going to be. That'll be on video on demand coming out this Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
A movie called Insane Like Me is available on Amazon, Apple TV, and other outlets. Supernatural thriller about a combat veteran who returns home after a tour of duty overseas, becomes a lead suspect in his girlfriend's disappearance, and is subsequently wrongly convicted and incarcerated. 9 years later, he is released from the mental asylum. He returns home to find the truth and settle the score. And that's that write-up's from bloodydisgusting.com.
All right, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So that's on. I should have grabbed a picture of this one because this movie called The Hangman. Let me grab a picture. The picture of the killer looks really cool.
Oh.
And we're about cool looking killers.
Yeah, we like the cool looking killers.
Yeah, we should do the cool looking killer month.
I like that. The best looking killers.
Yes, yeah.
Well, the coolest.
So yeah, it's I don't know what you would say this guy looks like, but it's cool. Let me grab him. The Hangman. I like the name, The Hangman, too. He does not, oddly enough. You'd think maybe he would, wouldn't you?
Oh.
The hooded Hangman. And it's not the wrestler Hangman Page.
Oh, all right. I was hoping Adam Page would make the scene.
Right.
Come on, give somebody the buckshot lariat and kill him. Ooh. I don't know.
Does look like he's
looking.
Because he does have a noose around his neck, it looks like maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Kind of weathered looking.
I like him, yeah.
Yeah. So that one looks good. That's from indie director Bruce Wemple. Hangman, during a camping trip from hell, a father battles a murderous cult and a bloodthirsty demon known as the Hangman to save his kidnapped son.
All right, I dig it.
Yeah.
Nice, simple, to the point. I like it.
Under Paris, which premiered on Netflix yesterday.
I did the tour of the sewer system in Paris.
Oh, really?
Interesting, yeah.
I did not know that.
It was pretty neat.
They
got a great sewer system.
Did you go? Was there any sharks?
Didn't see any. Didn't see any sharks.
This is about a shark.
No. Wow.
Set in summer 2024, the film unfolds in Paris, which is hosting the World Triathlon Championships on the Seine for the first time. Sophia, a brilliant scientist, learns from Mika, a young environmental activist, that a large shark is swimming deep in the river. I think your idea sounds better. I think a movie about the sewer system. A horror movie set in the sewers under Paris sounds cooler.
Always better, I think. We've seen a shark once or twice.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably another good shark movie, but I am one under the assumption or the rule that they're all like pretty bad next to Jaws.
Yeah, I gotta think so.
I'm sorry to Maddie out there. Maddie, she loves all the bad shark movies.
Shark ones, yeah, that's awesome.
Can't say I'm a big fan. Let's see this next one. Trim season. Job at a marijuana farm turns nightmarish. I'm not really big on marijuana humor and stuff, so I don't know. Probably won't like this.
I think that kind of went with Cheech and Chong, I think.
Yeah. Cut off from the rest of the world, they soon realize that Mona, The seemingly amiable owner of the estate is harboring secrets darker than any of them could imagine. It becomes a race against time for Emma and her friends to escape the dense woods with their lives.
Dun, 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 dun.
That was really
I think like if killers are smoking a lot of weed, they probably don't have the energy to chase you very far.
That's
so
a
I think you're
point.
pretty safe in that way.
I thought that was really off-putting in Bates Motel when it's like I wanted to watch Norman Bates being creepy with his mom,
that.
and then it's like the hunky brother, and he's like fighting like crime bosses and growing weed. I'm like, I don't
that
care
was a
about
character
shit.
nobody really asked for, was it?
No. Some people love that show. I thought that show was garbage.
It's too bad too, because I think the guy that played young Norman and
I agree, and the mom.
Yeah.
If they just focused on them, they don't need a brother. There is no brother. There's no brother in Psycho. What are they doing?
Oh.
They try to make it like a tween soap opera with this love affair with the hunky brother and
the
what
chick
in the hell
on
happened to the show?
Yeah, and like I didn't get.
What the hell am I watching? Neon's horror drama Handling the Undead is actually coming to theaters, so that's cool. On Friday, June 7th, I'll have to see if that's playing anywhere.
How do you handle the dead?
On a hot summer day in Oslo, the dead mysteriously awaken, and three families are thrown into chaos when their deceased loved ones come back to them. Who are they, and what do they want?
All right, I'm down with that.
Yeah, it's been a while since like a good zombie movie's been released.
Yep, we're ready for it.
So I would like to see that. I'm gonna have to see if that's playing anywhere. The Watchers, like we mentioned, that's playing everywhere. That's a big theatrical release. I'm gonna go see that. So that's it for this weekend. So go and check those out if they're in your area.
Yep, sounds good. I've been listening to the audiobook of You Like It Darker, which is the new King.
Oh, yeah, the King. Story. Yeah, I actually have it on Audible, but I've not started listening with my ears yet.
I think you'll dig it. So far, I've listened to, I think 5 stories, and I've liked them all.
All right, or else I'm gonna knock you out. Exactly. I did this last week. If anyone would like to video into the show and talk to us about horror, here's your chance. We don't always do this, but we're doing it tonight. We may result in no one because I didn't announce it beforehand, or it may result in it might be be a mistake. Exactly.
If somebody's lurking,
yeah.
As long as you're not like a Medusa or a Gorgon or something, you'll turn us to stone if you.
That's a short film idea. Someone's doing a video podcast and the Medusa calls in. Then who turns off the show? It's just live forever then.
Well, that's true. Because anybody that like turns into it, boom.
Oh, that's a good point too. I was just thinking of the host, but yeah.
Anybody listening or watching it. If you listened in, you were safe. If you've got just the audio podcast going. That's my pantomime for audio podcasts.
Yeah, there used to be a listener to the show called The Blind Guy. I'm sure he had a real name, but we just called him The Blind Guy. And he would have been safe.
Yep. All right, well, while we wait, I think I'm going to refill my coffee.
All right. Do I have a video keyed up? I could play a quick video while you do that. I'm sure I'll find something here. Yeah, I'm just going to play a quick video. We'll be right back while Troy refills the coffee.
This is Benny Chapman, the creature from the Black Lagoon, withoutyourhead.com. The Gill Man was not a frightening-looking person. He was just an unusual person. Mm-hmm. He was the good guy. They were the bad people.
Right, they're invading his home.
That's right. They were in other words, if you went home tonight and you found 10 people having a party in your living room, how would you feel?
Right.
Well, he's sitting there in his lagoon, and here come these people. We played it as, he fell in love with the girl, Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. And that's how we tried to play it, and it worked out.
What the suit was made out of, how heavy it was.
It was made of foam. It was actually very comfortable. It was like an outer layer of skin because what they did, I have it like a body stocking on. Mm-hmm. I would get into it like a leotard, except it closed feet all the way up, and the only thing that was open was my face. And they made a body impression of my body, and then they put this thing over it, and then each piece was done separately, and it was simply glued onto it. And then getting in it, it would take me 2 to 3 hours to get in because we wanted to make it look like an outer layer of skin without having creases in the wrong places. The large lake, it's still there at Universal Studios. A lot of time when they didn't need me, I just go out in the lake and I go swim. I just sort of float around. So Rock Hudson came up to me, why don't we do this? Because Rock and I were good friends. He said, I'll bring people up there, and what you do, you'll try to scare them. And I said, sure. He would call the set. Then the set would call me and he'd say, Benny, Rock's bringing about 5 or 6 people up here. I go out in the water, and I get out in the middle of the lake, and all you could see would be my eyes and the top of my head. You know, like alligators do?
Mm-hmm. Right.
See the top of their heads? And he would get the people down by the beach, and then all of a sudden I would leap straight up in the air and go, Wah! And there's water flying all over with this weird, and the people would just, they'd have heart attacks. So the studio found out about it, and they told Rock and I to cut it out.
Hi, this is Butch Patrick, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
In 1955, the George Donner High School football team lost the big game. They beat freshman Jimmy Smazmov until he was hardly recognizable.
You people broke his goddamn jaw! Can't even eat like a regular person!
But Jimmy recovered. Jimmy Smazmov became Smash Mouth and got his revenge.
Did they ever find Jimmy?
Who, Smash Mouth? He died in the fire.
I heard they never found his body.
Now, 15 years later.
It's really nice to be here with you, Nancy. We missed you. We should just have some fun. We deserve it. I've been coming out here for years. I've never seen that before.
What in tarnation?
You guys remember AJ? Him and Jimmy were always hanging out together, right?
Jimmy was like my brother. I kept him safe.
Smash Mouth is back.
Do you still have a thing for him?
Jimmy, it's me. It's me, Nancy.
This time, the cheerleaders who stopped him
I still remember the knife going into her.
will face their greatest fears.
You will know pain and suffering and blood.
Don't close your eyes. Don't cover your ears. And whatever you do, don't open your mouth. In Zone 2, get smashed.
End Zone 2 and the Once and Future Smash Double Disc Blu-ray coming out very soon. So I think you can still go and pre-order one on the Kickstarter. And there's also a limited edition VHS of End Zone 2 that will be out. So do it up.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. All right. We've got a man, our buddy, our pal, our amigo, our compadre, coast to coast. I believe. No, I was going to say first time talking to Troy, but he had talked to him on In Your Head.
Oh, yeah. But he talked to the flea. I don't think he ever talked to Terrible Troy.
There's different personas per show.
Exactly.
I think I caught on to that pretty quick.
Not quite as terrible when I'm the flea.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Am I more or less likable as Nasty Neal as compared
You're a little
to Jack?
nastier than Jack.
All right.
Yeah, I still need my prefix on my name, but I'll get it figured out at some point.
Koala Coast. It's not very
Koala. Hi, mate. Down in Oz.
Quahog Coast. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Quahog. That's Family Guy, right?
Oh, I don't know.
think.
Oh, quahog
That's-
is it's a
Like a
term
big
here.
clam.
We call clams quahogs on the Cape.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they use it anywhere else or not, but
No, that's the first time I heard that word outside of Family Guy. Yeah.
Family Guys, they're stealing our stuff. Cultural appropriation.
Aren't they though? Yeah.
Let me look up quahog.
Yeah.
Quahog. It's a hard clam. Must be a little different than a regular clam.
I think they're a little bit bigger. That's why you'll get them like the stuffed quahogs.
Oh, yeah. Because they're really
They'll
big.
mince them up and mix in some breadcrumbs and stuff.
They're good. I recommend a stuffed quahog. Freud probably doesn't like them, but
I don't think I've ever had one.
Really? I dig them. I dig them.
All
right. What's on your mind, Coast?
Now, in regards to not IYH, but in regards to this show here, I was looking through your guests, and the one I totally marked out for was Elaine Powell. That's Rin from Siren. I was like,
nice.
oh wow, I missed that. Darn it. Yeah, that was totally cool. I was sorry I missed that. But
there's a lot of cool guests in the archives here and Without
it goes back a ways.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I gotta say this is like probably my first year consistently listening. I was always floating around in the IYH. I never jumped over here for some reason until recently.
Well, we're happy to have you here, Killer
Coast.
Cool, thanks.
Killer
Thanks.
Coast, I love it. That's a perfect one.
Killer Coast, huh?
Yeah.
That's what we call California out here.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah. It's more of like a LA thing. And if you're from California, you pretty much know that like LA and like SoCal and NorCal are like two different cultures entirely. People think we're all just united, but no, it's like, oh, that's SoCal, like, oh, those NorCal guys. And,
In
the
city of Compton.
Yeah.
We don't want to start singing here. But so what's on your mind, Killer Coast?
Just doing my thing here on the Unreal Engine. I'm always working on things of that nature. And I have you guys on in the background, so I was really enthralled in a project recently. That's why I wasn't participating in the chat, but I was here. I was definitely here, but I just wasn't. My fingers weren't here, so to speak, because they were occupied.
That's kind of creepy if someone just now tuned in. Like, what's this guy doing?
I think. Like just right now, right? Yeah. My fingers were there. What's he talking about? I'm talking about my fingers on the keyboard.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we do have a few. Go on, sir.
Go. No, fine. Go ahead.
I'll say we have a few questions here. Derek Neal, what are your thoughts on Alien Romulus? I did not like the last two movies, but Alien Romulus seems like a return to the actual Alien movies. So, even though we were talking earlier about all the prequels and sequels and stuff, I still.
Is Danny McBride? Does he have anything to do with it?
No.
All right, then I might watch it because I love Danny McBride as an actor and a comedic actor.
Yeah.
But he should stay the fuck away from horror movies and science fiction.
I agree. Movies. I gave him a shot when I was first heard about it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I watch it. I'm like, man, this stinks.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it'd be pretty cool. I don't know if anyone's done this, but correct me if I'm wrong. But if the space opera genre were kind of married with the horror genre, like instead of like how like a Federation of Planets, but instead of like your enemies being the Romulans, the Klingons, the Cardassians, whatever, they're like some kind of Eldritch situation. Like
that'd be kind of badass. Like Lovecraft in space kind of thing.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. I think the closest that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I like that idea because
do
you have
too,
cosmic horror, but I guess we did have one cosmic horror set in space. That's Event Horizon, but like a whole series would be interesting.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Event Horizon, and to a certain extent, Fifth Element, probably, since that was kind of like an Eldritch situation. The Fifth Element, the planet, the demon planet, and Event Horizon. That was the one where the spaceship went to like hell or something like that.
Yeah.
Really
it folded
good
idea.
into.
I don't think it's like. I mean, it's notorious that like they cut the movie all up from its original like perception and stuff. So the movie that was released isn't what they envisioned. And I think that was I don't know if I know that it's always talked about doing like a director's cut and stuff, but back then they didn't keep all that stuff. So like when it was edited,
it might be
just
lost
like
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's still a cool movie. It's still a cool movie, but
yeah,
it could have been much more from my understanding.
Yeah. It's
Sam Neill.
Yep. Sam Neal's always good in everything.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Sam Neill?
Yeah.
Okay, let me look. Jot that down.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I know that guy. But I'm interested. I think I saw somewhere there's going to be an Alien TV show too.
Oh, really?
Like a series. Just gone alien crazy here.
I know. I thought we've kind of done.
Oh yeah, and they said for the first time ever the alien will be on Earth, and then there were people like, well, that's not true because they're on Earth and Alien, all the Alien vs Predator movies. And they're like, well, that's not canon. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess I don't know if it is or not, but still, like you've done it, so you can't just claim it's never been done when it's been done.
Yeah. Well, we're probably not going to get any like animation type stuff. Well, at least like AAA studio or like big picture animation stuff anytime soon because of the upcoming animator strike.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, don't quote me on the like actual likelihood that this will happen, but it's supposed to be a pretty likely scenario. Like the animations, they're gonna go on strike, and that means like no new. Well, actually, they're not really even doing new animation like that much because like all the studios are getting, but people are getting laid off from Pixar. People are getting laid off from like other like the Disney animation wing. Like they're getting laid off from there. They're letting people go. So it's getting pretty dreary. Yeah, isn't it?
Cause I'll tell you, like a lot of the stuff, like the Disney Plus, like the What If on Marvel.
Yeah,
series, like some of the animations just brilliant on that.
Yeah,
excuse me.
It is. But as there's always like a upside to things, I think you're gonna probably start seeing, and this is just me being optimistic. You're gonna see a lot more like indie stuff, indie studios coming out, like those like those vampire guys that came on here like about a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Like
they're getting closer to coming out. I'm really interested in seeing it.
Oh yeah, me too.
They're very, very cool people and been supportive on Arbor Day and stuff. So I like that.
Yeah. Well, I got to give the Pacific Northwest props. That's all that Oregon and Washington stuff. That's my passion. That zone of the country. So anything that artistically that comes out of there,
Is that where you're going to move to?
I'm looking at it. Where you guys
pushing to move to Idaho so you can get all the potatoes you'd ever want.
I don't want to get murdered by. Excuse me. I don't want to get taken out by the Yellowstone caldera, man. It's just I'm telling you that thing's gonna go kablooey. It's gonna blow.
To our boy out there, Dave Deadman, he sent me these pins.
Oh, I love them.
He made them actually. So we get Frankenstein, Evil Dead, Jason. He did not send me this one. I got that at South Texas.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And I got a whole bunch more in here, but couldn't put them all in here. But we got like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, very nice.
It's pretty cool. And a bunch of bands. Some of them I do not know. I mean, I know the Misfits, but I don't know, like, well, I know the Ramones. I can't say I don't know them. But anyway, trust me, there's some in here that I don't know.
The Ramones. It's like kind of NoFX and Operation Ivy kind of underground stuff.
Yeah, it's all punk bands because he's a man.
Any Bad Brains?
I don't believe so. DOA, Crass. There might be a Bad Brains that you mentioned it. Might have saw that. There's like look, there's a lot here.
Oh, you got a bunch of them in there.
Yeah. I like this.
I always like the Bad Brains, though, because they're like classically trained musicians. And then they were like, we don't like doing this shit. We just want to do some fun.
Oh, really?
So I went out and did it. And I was like, that's fucking great.
That's the official Bastard of the Year. I don't know if that's a band or if he just thought like that was fitting for me.
Yeah, just wear it. Wear it with pride.
Germs. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you with this, but Pins, thank you, Dave Deadman. You're a good man. If anyone wants to send us gifts, you can send that to P.O. Box 415, Sandwich, Massachusetts, 02563. And we'll open it here on the show. Just put in the package who it's to. If it's to me, to Troy, to Annabelle, or to all of us, whatever. Gigi Allen.
Whoa.
Throw some poop. Coast had none of it. He was like, I will not be on a show that talks about Gigi Allen.
No, don't blame him. Good to hear from him, though.
Yeah. His StreamYard crashed. Oh, all right.
Oh.
Mike, the guest earlier had a hard time with StreamYard coming on. So, Robert Budzinski. Why do birds sing so gay?
Whoa. I thought he was going to ask, why do birds suddenly appear?
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near?
Just like me, they long to be
close to you. Was that also a Donnie No Soul Simmons song?
I hope so. It should have been.
Dobbs Dean Maya. Do horror movies still make you feel? That's an interesting question, actually. It's a kind of an open end. Make me feel what? Now, do they? I think any kind of art should make you feel something. Now, do I watch a horror movie and get scared? No. And that's not me being a tough guy, but I've watched movies since I was a little kid, so I don't get scared. But sometimes they make you feel just like not necessarily disturbed, like, oh, what the hell is going on? But they,
you can be a little disturbed, depressed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely depressed sometimes. I think even a negative emotion, if it can elicit any emotion from you, is it's weird to say positive, but I think it's doing something. Art is doing something to you.
Yeah, as long as it's not just like anger, like I felt when we saw Mother. I was just angry that I was fucking, flim-flammed into that movie.
Yeah.
Then they do the big, if you didn't like it, you just don't understand.
You're just dumb. You're just a dumbass, boy.
Okay, yep.
I got it. It just sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, a lot of people like it. So that's I always have to add that at the end, So good for them.
Yep.
Hey, coast to coast.
Yeah, Mother was interesting.
Annabelle.
There's also another it was cool. Maybe you guys can help me figure out another movie. There was a movie that came out not long ago. It was about it's like a Scottish boat crew that went out to sea, and there was like a monster afflicted like under the ocean that was like getting in everybody's bodies and coming out of their eyes. And there was like a Scottish or Irish lady with red hair, and they were saying, "Oh my goodness, she has red hair. That's bad luck."
Damn.
redhead woman at the ocean's bad luck or something.
Don't they have it
Yeah, I
bad
don't know what that
enough?
movie
Now they're
is.
all out there. They're all bad luck too.
Yeah.
Was she a
I never
mermaid?
understood that.
Was she like a mermaid? Was she a mermaid?
No, she was just no, she was like a marine biologist with red hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was some kind of like sailor thing, you know, some kind of maritime superstitious thing or whatever. You know. Kind of like in Dungeons and Dragons where you have to throw like a chest full of like gold before you sail out from Baldur's Gate so you don't get taken down by Umbery or whatever. Yeah, it's
Baldur's Gate. Now you're talking.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that, but it was a pretty cool movie. I gotta figure out what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe Ludak can help me out if he's in here. Help me figure it out.
No, I don't know that one because I was thinking of I think it was a part of a series. It might have been like the Masters of Horror. There was a pretty good one where they caught a mermaid and she ended up like killing the crew and stuff. It was pretty good.
Watch out for this mermaid.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So mermaids. I guess it'd be pretty cool.
They say back in the day that sailors they would have sex with manatees, and that's where like the mermaid myth came about. And I'm like, what the hell were they drinking to think like a manatee?
Yeah, you had to be pretty lit up, I think, to cuddle up to a manatee.
Yeah.
At least like
how would they even know that today, though? Either.
At least like a seal's kind of cute, but a manatee? No, you'd have to be kind of desperate.
So do they come on this? Oh, excuse my choice of word, but do manatees actually show up on the beach? Like, do they show up around people?
I think they would get them in the sea. They would get them in like the fishing nets or something.
Oh, would they?
Yeah.
Because I think down in like Florida, I think they'll get a manatee like flopping around on the beach sometimes.
And they'll be like, hell yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh my God, it's so hot.
Well, the dolphins are a little more willing participant in something cross species intercourse, but I don't know if the manatee is down for stuff like that.
Yeah,
right.
I think.
Yeah, I've watched some videos.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. No, I haven't. I'm just kidding.
You watch some dolphins.
Well, they put out that. Now that's an interesting, like a flashlight. They could put out like the dolphin blowhole.
Oh man, get into like a
manatee real doll. Is that legal?
They troll. Well, they troll each other that way.
Yeah.
Like,
that bad dragon. They make some weird stuff, so I guess it's legal. Not that I know. I mean, we reviewed them on the show. Not like we didn't review them on the show like we bought them and tried them out, but we just saw like the new releases.
Ones.
Yeah. There was I don't know if it was Fleshlight or what, but they did a series for Halloween one year, and it was like a zombie, and it was like a dildo and like a fleshlight and stuff. And I was like, what the hell? It was kind of creepy. Like it would look scary, like on my bookshelf here. It was like a rotting like dildo, but like we'd get kicked off YouTube probably.
Oh wow, that's yeah. so basically a necrofied dildo.
Exactly. It will be none of that in Arbor Day.
All right.
No matter what Jason Mitten out there wants. I know he's dying to see it. There will be none of that in Arbor Day. Yeah. And not a tree one either. Yeah. But Arbor Day is getting closer to soon we'll be filming the trailer. We'll be starting the Indiegogo, and then hopefully we'll get enough just to cover, the basic cost of making it. It's exciting. Arbor Day. Beware the trees of Arbor Day.
What about separate limbs? Is that like once a year or
the what?
Happen Severed Limbs, the Severed Limbs Festival.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
good.
should be. I actually really need to put that up because that should
Oh
happen
yeah, we have
in
our
July.
summer one coming up.
Yeah, maybe we'll make it in August, or maybe I'll make the end of July. That gives people over almost 2 months to get some stuff in. Thank you for actually after the show, I'll do that. I'll pop up the so people can start sending stuff in, and then I know Troy's already busy, but we'll have him make a new picture.
Well, see, I'll have a little time in between, like making the trailer and
Right.
the rest of the stuff. So the movie I was thinking about is called She Creature with Rufus Sewell, and it's about a mermaid. Good movie. I like it.
She Creature.
Yep.
I don't think I've seen this.
And you like Rufus Sewell? He's always good and stuff.
I'm not sure who that is by the name. I bet if I look up the name.
He's from Dark City. You love that.
Oh yeah, nice. One of my
Rufus is
favorite
always
movies. I haven't seen that in a while. Oh yeah, I know him now. Dark City's great. If anyone out there's not seen Dark City, go watch it.
Yep.
Or else I'll beat your ass. No, I'm just kidding. But go see it.
Do a whole Rufus Sewell marathon. Watch A Knight's Tale and Dark City and She Creature.
Exactly.
Which I hope is as good as I remember, because it came out in 2001, so I haven't seen it in 23 years. But I enjoyed it when it came out.
Let's look up. Guppy Sloot was in here earlier. I'm looking up. Got some new stuff on New Village Video.
Oh.
We got Teddy Bears Live Forever.
Nice. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. April is a young faded it girl suffering in exile from multiple personality disorder brought on by a freakish UFO cult.
Whoa.
She decides that the most rotten of her 6 personalities must lose her virginity to stop her bizarre flashbacks. Damn, that sounds nuts.
That's a setup.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Noise.
Let me see here. Absolutely. I don't know. Go check out newvillagevideo.com. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of whacked out movies.
Including Teddy Bears Live Forever.
Exactly. Do it up. No, here. I'm trying to look up horror. Puppy says it is made by Italian filmmaker.
Oh, okay.
So you also have a Triple Xmas by our buddy James Dean, who I was talking to I was just talking to him the other day about Arbor Day, actually. Black Fables. In this off-the-wall Brazilian take on the traditional horror anthology, which we're all fans of anthologies, a group of kids embark on a macabre adventure populated with supernatural characters of Brazilian horror culture. The werewolf, the witch, the ghost, the demonic monster, and a creature called the Sassy. With the anthological encounter between 4 of the biggest names in Brazilian terror: Rodrigo Aragon, Peter Baystar, Joel Kitano, and Jose Mojica Marines. Fabulous Negras Production presents their festival award-winning namesake film. I need to check that out. That sounds great.
I'm always down with a good anthology flick.
Yeah.
And I don't really know anything about like Brazilian horror. I don't think I've ever seen a Brazilian horror movie.
No. Maybe we can check that out and get some of the
get the Rodizio.
Yeah, some of the filmmakers on. Lucifer, Satan's Daughter is my favorite on New Village Video. I remember Puppy telling me about this. And we were also going to try. We need to do this every month to get someone from New Village Video a filmmaker on.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. If you have any suggestions, let us know. All right. I don't see that it might be Killer Pinata.
Wow.
A possessed piñata seeking to avenge the savagery that humanity has inflicted on his kind picks off a group of friends one by one in an unending night of terror. I love it.
Justice for the piñata.
Yeah. I love it. Let's do
I'm
that.
down with it. Yep. They could get Darby Allin because, you know, he was good, like upside down, getting beaten up, super kicked and such.
Exactly.
He could be the piñata. Yep.
I'm trying to find Lucifer's daughter here.
Aren't we all? Story of my life, Nasty Neal.
Lucifer's daughter. Your browser does not support Java. That is not part of the description.
Oh. It's truly evil. It won't let you look at this movie.
An evil witch is summoned after Ricky the Acid King sacrifices his friends to Satan.
Nice.
The world of cinema has been revolutionized by the emergence of modern grindhouse films. These movies, with their raw, uncut, and unapologetic style, have taken the film industry by storm. As written here by New Village Video. So yeah, cool stuff out there. Go check that out. Stuff's only like $3 to rent. Puppy Sloot's all right, we'll get Puppy Sloot on here. Also known as Tara.
Now that has the Who's Acid Queen from Tommy stuck in my head now after be like,
oh really?
Ricky, the Acid Queen.
Oh.
Pay me before we stop. I
bet that's who they're named after.
I'm guaranteed to tear his soul apart. Tina Turner in the movie.
Oh, really?
The Acid Queen.
I haven't seen Tommy in a long time.
Neither have I. Which is probably better than because in the album, Pete does the Acid Queen. Pete doesn't really sound that much like
the Acid Queen.
I wouldn't think so. You know, where like Keith Moon as your wicked Uncle Ernie, you can buy that.
Right.
Yeah, he sounds like a sleazy old guy. It's pretty good.
Who sang and who did that in the movie? Oh, he did in the movie too.
Yeah, Keith Moon too, because Moon had that good like sleazy quality.
Yeah, I think the guy from Genesis.
Oh yeah,
he played him in like a later version.
Yeah, he'd probably be perfect too, because he's got that same kind of. You get that sketchy vibe from Phil Collins.
Phil Collins, yeah, I think he did it on like a stage performance or something. We need to make an Evil Uncle Ernie the movie.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I'm your wicked Uncle Ernie. I'm glad you won't see or hear me as I fiddle about.
Troy's wearing the Terrorberry shirt.
I am.
So if you don't know, there are we have a bunch of Without Your Head cereal, morning cereal, breakfast cereal shirts. We've got the Nasty O's, the Terrorberries, the Trista Bites, the Treacherous Bites, the Bill Wheaties, the Greasy Flakes, and what's the Lecter? I forget the Lecter ones, the Annabelle Lecter ones, but they're all very cool.
I like them all. I would eat them for breakfast every morning.
Yeah. It would be cool to have actual cereal boxes of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'd be kind of like Mike's video boxes.
Annabelle Lecter's Crunch Bodies. There we go.
All right, there you go.
Nasty O's are dill pickle flavored frosted cereal green mallows. Now, who wouldn't want that? Terrorberries are elderberry flavored frosted cereal with severed limbalos. Greasy Flakes are pink grapefruit flavored frosted cereal with olive oil and mini sausages.
Who wouldn't want that for breakfast?
That turn your milk into grease. Annabelle Lecter crunch bodies. They're sorrow berries that turn your milk into blood.
Oh.
Get those. Check those out, folks. You can get the shirts, hats, whatever you want. Oh yeah, new hats now too. Luddite Supreme, Johnny Cakes. What's going on, my buddy?
Bill Collins was cocky about playing accordion. I got a tape of him on it playing that. I was impressed. He
nice.
referred to Keith Moon. He's like, oh, everybody's going, oh, look, there's another one. It's like, no, you're not another Keith Moon, buddy. You're really not another Keith Moon. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I mean, the man's passed away, so they had to have someone play him.
Yeah, I know, but Bill Collins is not compared.
He got that similar sleazy vibe, though.
Nah.
Probably not anymore, but he did back, 10 years ago.
Yeah. The tape was like, it was some
It's no fun being an illegal alien. Now, that's a forgotten Genesis song that they probably can't play anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, definitely not.
People might frown on that one.
They do tours. He gets out a sombrero and he puts on like a big fake mustache and he starts doing illegal.
Talking about his sister that's willing to comply. Like, I don't know, man.
Everyone in the crowd's like, "What's the hell happening?"
Yeah. That's why I didn't listen to pop music, lady.
Annabelle never heard of that song, and I found it on YouTube and played it in the car. She's like, "What the hell is this?" No. I would just laugh my ass off.
Well, I was like you when I played, what was it, Harlem Shuffle by the Stones,
Oh, that's horrible.
Another inappropriate song,
Why don't you just torture the guy?
You're looking good, Luddite. Things going good?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but that's okay.
Got all your paintings up in the background. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's always good, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, like Lombardo said, always create, right?
Yeah.
I believe that was the gist of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. You always make art.
Yep.
And
whatever your art is. It could be physical art. It could be music. Could be a movie. Could be stories.
I'm working towards trying to make a movie, so I'm gonna wind up picking people's brain. I'm trying to get a cheap camera of some sort, like just a camera in something,
Yeah. Well, nowadays, you can get, pretty inexpensive cameras to make something,
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be, 4K or something.
You can always make stuff on your phone, even,
Yeah, that's why I'm looking. Maybe I'll get a phone, right? I have a phone, but it's like corded and like.
Yeah.
Try it out, just wing it
I'm
around.
on a rotary now.
That could be your art itself,
He's just holding up. Why isn't this working? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get one of those Micro Four Thirds cameras. Still sell those.
What is that?
Micro Four Thirds. It's a Micro Four Thirds camera. It's basically, it's basically like one of those Olympus things. And I think like Sony did a couple of those also. But they call it Micro Four Thirds just because like the aspect ratio, I think that's the term, is 4/3 of cinema. Basically, so it's kind of like it's like 4/3 of industry cinema. That's why they call it Micro Four Thirds. But don't quote me on the aspect ratio thing. That might be an incorrect term, but I just know the screen size or the shooting size.
Yeah.
that much.
In a Violent Nature had a different aspect ratio than the normal theatrical movie.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. You know, it was like square. Almost square.
Oh, okay.
Not quite.
I'll pretend to know what you guys are talking about on this.
Yeah, it was, you know, framed like a movie, like a TV, like your old school TV, not widescreen.
Oh, see, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
It's like when you're reading those. Go ahead.
Pretty oblivious.
It's cinematography stuff.
So I can't bend this finger out anymore straight. So my doctor told me it's arthritis.
Oh, it's still doing that like thing?
Yeah, so there's nothing you can do about it, apparently. But you can do exercises so it doesn't get worse.
You didn't say it hurts when I go like this, and he said don't go like that.
Just don't do it. It doesn't hurt, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
My brother thinks he's a chicken.
Yeah.
Bring him in. I need the egg.
Yeah. Those are all the welcome back Carter jokes.
You mended these, or what was it?
No.
Euripides. Hey, Euripides. Yeah, you mended these, or whatever. What a dumbass show. But
oh my God.
I loved it at the time.
Yeah, but you had 3 choices at that time.
That's what exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of those shows.
You're watching Welcome Back, Carter, or some other equally as stupid show, or
yeah, you couldn't go on the internet
or Meet
or
the
anything.
Press or something that like maybe one 90-year-old guy misses, you know.
Hey, got a note from my mother.
You know she got him sick of his shirt. She's like, look, I'd like to smack you.
Yeah, then he became out of the blue he started like commentating poker.
Yeah,
that was so strange. Gabe Kaplan, like, you know, hey, this Gabe Kaplan at the World Series of Poker. Really?
Tell her he fight with the network, and then because he wasn't working on the show and they were out of contract impasse, he started doing the poker. And he got really good at it, I guess.
Oh, he plays too? I just thought he did the commentary. I didn't know he played.
Yeah, I think he played and then became the commentator because he was like a player, yeah.
I thought he just worked cheap. Like, you know, and a real celebrity, but they want money. So
the last after a while show's really weird because like all like the famous people are off the show and like someone else is teaching
well,
the
all
kids,
we
like,
have horse that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's new sweat hogs. Plus, they're all like 35 years old.
Oh yeah, you gotta love them.
Well, they were supposed to be the stupid kids.
After a while, don't they just kick you out though? Like you've been here for 10 years. I think you just get out of the
Well, worked for like oh Christ, the Fonz and stuff. He's 40 fucking years old, dating 17-year-olds. Like, hey. Nobody thinks that's a little sketchy.
I'm 17-year-old taking out with a 40-year-old biker, but I'm not concerned.
Yeah,
no,
that's
it's
fine.
not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
And after a while, would he still be considered the cool guy? He like lives up like above like this guy's parents and like the garage and doesn't really even have a job, I don't think.
Yeah, but he can play the jukebox for free.
That's true. He just hits the jukebox.
Yeah, that's true. He just goes in, snaps his fingers, and boom, get the music.
Oh yes, hit him.
That's another show. After a while, like half the people aren't on it.
Yeah.
The Jenny Piccolo show.
Without Your Heads, where we talk about old 70s sitcoms.
Oh,
I mean, that's what I grew up watching. Not just Basket Case.
Yeah.
I prefer
between showings of Basket Case.
Right. But to tie it into horror, Horshack is responsible for bringing Jason back to life as a zombie.
That's true. Yep. If you like
What
the
night-
Kane Hodder Jason, then you got to thank Arnold Horshack for that.
One night in the 90s, I had like a bad horror rental night, and it was Horshack in one movie where he was hypnotized by a zombie chick, and then I was Eric Estrada and he was fucking numb.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
He got around that Horshack.
Yeah.
He's not alone. He's no longer with us, is he?
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
Get around no more.
Oh, I
Damn.
didn't even know that.
I was just saying, I don't think we can get
How's
him on
Epstein?
the show.
Is he okay though?
I don't know.
Dead.
Yeah, a lot of them are dead.
Oh,
He's trying to get a good refund from his mother, but it didn't
so
work.
Travolta's still kicking.
No, oh yeah, he is.
Damn, yeah.
Get
What?
on
Epstein
the
died in
inside.
2012.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I remember commenting on it with you guys on the board.
How about what was
Yeah.
he? Boom Boom Washington.
They're all
Boom
dead.
Boom's alive, I think.
All right.
He was in something, wasn't he? Wasn't he in one of the Rob Zombie movies?
Was he really?
Think
I mean,
so.
I hope he was, but I don't know.
I might just be making it up. I don't know.
Ain't no thousand corpses.
You're thinking of Danny Trejo.
Ready, boom, boom, Washington.
Yep.
Maybe not. Let me see here. Using Death Wish.
Whoa.
I'm just trying to think of a reason to get him on the show.
Death Wish
Ready,
is
boom,
close
boom,
enough.
Washington. You don't need no reason.
Yeah.
He was in a movie called Killer Drag Queens on Dope.
There we go. That'll.
What the? I must have.
that
No,
right?
he was in 31. Yeah, he's in 31. I knew he was in the
Oh.
Rob Zombie movie.
Good call.
It's so hard to get a killer drag queen off of dope too.
I gotta get him on the show now. I wanna.
Yeah.
Is he alive?
Yeah, he's still kicking.
Holy fuck, we got one! Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say go straight to Travolta.
Yeah,
but, you know,
Travolta's
go
not
with
doing
Boom
it.
Boom first.
Travolta's not, because he ripped me off in that movie. He did the Fanatic. I think he based that character off me. He's wearing the same shirt I wear.
That's right.
He's wearing a
Yep.
backpack.
You said that was a movie.
It sure is.
I haven't seen
You
that.
know, though, it's entertainingly awful. I'll give it. That.
Okay.
It's not a movie you like. Why am I watching? You'll watch it and you'll be like, "What in the fuck is this?" But you'll still you'll be entertained. I don't know. It's out there. It's not good. Not good by any means, but it's entertaining. I'm surprised it's not like the Room kind of movie where people go to midnight screenings of The Fanatic and it's on that level.
What was the name of that one? The Drag Queen what?
The Drag Queens on Dope or something?
Okay. I got to look up this one.
Drag queens on dope, he says.
Killer Drag Queens on Dope.
Oh, okay. Killer Drag Queens.
Yeah,
on Dope.
not
What
just
year
who
was
cares
that one
about
from?
Drag Queens on Dope, but if you have Killer Drag Queens on Dope. 2003.
Oh, wow.
The only way to get out alive is to be well stocked with dope.
It's got Drag Queen Eva Destruction. Do you know her?
I do.
All right,
Heard
she's
of
the
that.
star. She's the main star.
All right. Alexis Arquette.
Fuck, is that who it is?
Yep.
Omar Alexis, Clark Weaver, Mackie Beltovsky.
I don't think any of these other people are real people. I think they just made them all up.
Probably.
Maybe they're real and we're made up. Wow.
Because I have seen, Star Booty, which was RuPaul's old.
Oh, wow.
That's a movie.
Star Booty.
Star Booty.
Yikes.
Is it like a Star Wars movie?
No, it's kind of a sleazy city RuPaul movie.
Oh, I thought it was science fiction. Or
Oh, no.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, I would have been all over that. No, this one was a no budget.
Yeah.
With RuPaul and Willem and a few other queens.
Trip to Star Booty, and it's just like a
Yeah.
living planet. It's just a big
That'd
booty
be
in
awesome. I'd
space.
be all
Yeah.
over that one.
It's like a black hole kind of deal.
Yep.
You got to do the crack run. Instead of the trench run,
Yeah.
you fly on the crack.
It's like
If we
it's
ever
like
have
when the
RuPaul on, we'll tell her that that's what we want. That's
it's like when the
next-
Millennium Falcon thinks they're flying, and they're like, these aren't meteorites. You can be flying. See, this is a good movie. I don't think we'll have the budget to make this ourselves, but who knows? We'll see.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
If Arbor Day does well, then we know our next.
Well, you put all our money into Star Booty.
Yep.
The remake.
Star Booty 2. Star Booty the
Just
Revenge.
take place in outer space with spaceships and stuff.
Yep.
I'm all about it. Right. We should probably play this interview and get out of here. We're getting kind of late.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's been fun.
It's been a good time. Thank you, guys.
Okay, seeing you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nasty One. We had a good time.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. And by the way, we'll start taking calls after the guests. So in the future, be ready. Coast and Ludite are buddies. And anyone else out there would like to video into the show.
Come on in. Tell us about your
horror stuff.
Exactly.
Tell us about your favorite RuPaul role. We don't care. Talk about old 70s sitcom. We'll talk about anything.
Memories.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, we'll talk about Staten's daughter.
Yep. We'll talk about
the movie and just, the idea.
Yeah. Talking about that's kind of one of my things, so we'll talk about that.
So next week, I think we might be back to 7 just because when I had told the person we had 7, unless they want to move to 8. But either way, we'll figure it out. But we'll have Amanda Nell, who is the director of the Malaysian horror film Tiger Stripes, which we saw at Boston Underground Film Festival. And we also have the cast and crew of Teddy Cuddles, which is a killer teddy bear movie.
Nice. Can't get enough killer teddy bear movies.
And then the week after that, we will have Ty Chayman of Slasher Days of Summer. One of our buddies, been on the show multiple times. And Rye Barrett, who's Johnny, the killer, in the new slasher film that everybody's talking about, good and bad, in a violent nature.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance to, go see it. I enjoyed it a lot.
I agree. And I think it's a good sign when a movie has people have strong opinions of it one way or the other. I think that's better than a movie where people are just like, yeah, it's a movie.
Well, it's kind of like a meaty tuck, like all the drag queens have a strong preference between a clean, tight tuck and a meaty tuck.
What in the hell?
We'll talk more about that next time.
Goodbye, horses. They're dragging you away. All right. We'll talk about it next time. We're going to, now if she's watching, she's like, I've got to follow this, but we are going to have the director of a humanist vampire seeking a suicidal. I don't think I have the whole title, but it's, here we go. A humanist vampire seeking consenting. That's the part you really need. Consenting suicidal person.
Nice.
And, I talked to her about this. Was pre-recorded because I believe she might have just been in Canada. I was going to say she's in France, but I think she's just French-Canadian. But we'll just pretend, say she's in France. And so we had to
she's in the sewers of France.
Exactly. All right. And then we'll take off and we'll play us out in a bit with Brix'N Mortar, our new music of the month. Find folks from Salem, Massachusetts. All right. Until next week. This is Nasty Neal.
That would make me terrible, Troy.
And this is without
your
head.
Come on, join in, guys.
Station of Decapitation. I'm Nasty Neal here at Without Your Head. And I'm joined by Ariane Louise Sees, director of this is a very long title. Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. Which is a great title, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. So, for people not aware yet, can you give them an idea of what the movie is about?
Yeah, it's a dark comedy coming-of-age vampire tale about Sasha, who is a young vampire who is a humanist, and she decided that she will find a suicidal person to try to eat ethically.
And yeah. So how about the title itself? Did anyone try to talk you out of it because it's too long, or like when did you decide on the title?
I decided title like at the beginning of the process. I had this idea of this humanist vampire who put Craigslist ads to find a suicidal person, and that was the title of the Craigslist ads: humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. And when I approached my co-writer to ask her if she wants to write this with me. I told her that I don't have the title yet. She told me, what you mean? Like, for sure it's gonna be the Craigslist ads title, can be anything else. So from the beginning we had this title, and for like 4 years that we were developing it, people, when we talk about this film, people always laugh at the title. So we thought it's the perfect title, because you have the tone right away, and it's a trigger warning by itself as well.
That's true.
So my distributor challenge us a little bit to put trigger warning before the film, and to change the title so it's less shocking, or it's, I don't know, they were a little bit scared.
Right.
And I was like, I mean, putting a trigger warning at the beginning of a film puts you in a mood, a serious mood. So I was like, no trigger warning. The title is a trigger warning. Like, personally, I really like long title, and I have a lot of example of long title that works a lot as well. So
I'm 100% with you, because I missed it at Boston Underground Film Festival because it played before I got there. I got there Friday through Sunday. But when I saw the title, I was like, oh my God, this is a movie I really want to see. So I was happy to eventually have seen it. And it sticks
worked.
with you. Yes, exactly.
I'm happy that it worked.
Yeah. You mentioned like trigger warning though. So making a dark comedy about, a serious subject, for me that works. But you'd already mentioned like the distributor had some issues maybe. Did you find any problems, when you're playing at festivals with anyone?
Not at all. I was expecting to maybe be challenged a little bit about the sensitive themes we talk in the film, and the tone. But I mean, no, everyone seems to compliment more than challenge us. And yeah, so I was prepared to talk about how we dig into this subject, and how our approach was to be more empathetic with the characters, and we didn't want to be too moralistic. And we know it's a big topic, but not talking about a big topic like that, a taboo themes, is not helping anything as well. So like, it opened a safe space to talk about those subjects after the screening maybe. So yeah.
So you mentioned your co-writer, Christine Doyen.
Yeah.
Did you know, how long have you known her, and have you worked together before?
I knew her since, I think, 10 years before starting writing the film. And we previously worked together for just a small, like a short film. It was for an event. We were supposed to do a short film homage to someone. So it was just like a quick preview of what working together can be like, because we had so much fun. And when I decide that I will need to stop doing short films so I can make my first feature, it was COVID. It was the start of 2020, and I I want to do a comedy. I want to have fun, and I thought I thought that if I was about to write a comedy myself, maybe I will like judge me more. Like one day you find you think you are the most brilliant like
right.
writer, and the next day you're like, this is not funny at all. Like so to be to like pitch ideas, it was so rich and so more fluid.
Yeah. I also love that there's like a whole universe in the movie. So you got the family, but I also like not to spoil much, but it's the beginning. There's doctors for the vampires, which I don't think that's something I've ever seen in a movie before.
Yeah, it's true. We like to just it's not like a whole world that we build. We don't see a lot of it in the film, but we just wanted to like give a glimpse of there's more to this universe. And I had fun thinking that the vampire specialists, they are also working with like the vampire vampire are also a real doctor in the day, but he extends his hour through the night to work with vampires.
Yeah, which is nice. That's kind of a play along classic vampire tales, because they always have humans that are helping them during the day. So why not have a doctor that helps them at night? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How about finding the perfect person for Sasha? So Sarah Montpetit.
Oh, I had Sarah in mind from the beginning. I saw her in a film called Maria Chapdelaine, and she was the lead actress in it. And I have like it's not a film that I particularly enjoy, but I discovered her.
Yeah.
And for me, she was so mysterious but lovable, and she had this like ageless, I don't know, vibe. And she was meant to play a vampire in my mind. And I still decided to audition her because I didn't know if she was funny. And she was funny. I was so happy she was. And she was funny in like her own quirky way. And that's what I was looking for. And she's really clever with the timing, and like we write all the dialogues, Christine and I, playing the dialogues, so we exactly knew the rhythm it has to have to be funny. And it's like she was understanding, like right before I started working with her, she was on the right track. So yeah.
She's perfect in the movie. Her presence and her acting, and just everything. So I agree with that. Yeah.
What is funny, just for the anecdote, Félix Antoine, who played Paul, I discovered him in audition. I didn't know him before, but I built this character on the spectrum, but I never like put this information anywhere. And he just from the scene he received, he built himself the characters on the spectrum. And it was like the first time I auditioned one actors for these characters that was believable and near my vision. And right like the 3 days before that, I was like, I think it's not good. My text is like, the dialogue are maybe too big, but it was just because I haven't find the perfect fit. And Félix Antoine was like, I like a big how do you say this when
like a weight off your shoulder?
Yeah, well, because I was like, okay, no, it's good. It's just like sometimes it takes time. And when I put the two of them together for the final audition, it was like I saw the tone of my film taking place in front of my eyes, and when I comforted them to have the part, they both thought they were like it was the worst audition they had in their life, because they were like, it was awkward for real. I don't know why, but they had prepared something in their head, and the other one was not giving what they were expecting. So it was like offbeat, weird scene. But for me, it was what the magic happened from. Anyways,
Yeah, no,
it's
they're
a
great
long
together. Yeah, and the awkwardness is part of the movie, so it totally works. So,
yeah.
yeah. Now the festival run for the movie. Did you get to attend many of the festivals?
Yes, but not as much as I wanted to, because our theatrical release in Quebec was in October, last October. So it was like in the middle of this festival run. So sadly, there's lots of festival that I miss, that I will still be able to follow the film a little bit around. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like to watch it with an audience when you had a chance to watch with an audience?
It's very it's very nice, because people laugh a lot, and what is the most weird thing is when we premiered at TIFF, we had the French subtitle, and there was lots of people from Quebec, so lots of French speaker. No, sorry, there was English subtitle.
Yeah.
So the audience was half English speakers and half French speakers, and the Quebecois laughed at the actual joke, and the English speakers just like
slightly later because they're reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was so nice to see the two waves of laugh. And no, it's always nice to watch it with the audience and to do Q&As after.
Yeah, that was a good way to know, though, that that it works for both French speaking audiences and you think, well, maybe they won't get these jokes, but if you have a slight just a half a second off, then you know.
Yeah, and it's nice because it's not like a laugh out loud film. It's more like a offbeat, quirky humor, but it's also sweet and tender, and there's lots of drama in it. So it's I'm playing on lots of tones. So to see that people still laugh and pass a good time, it's the most like nice rewards for me. For sure.
Was there any inspiration from the real story of the cannibal who made the Craigslist ad?
You know what? No.
Oh, interesting.
And I just like, and I'm serious. Like it's not. It's true. I didn't know, and someone just told me, like, I think when the film was released, and no,
that's
sorry.
pretty great. Yeah, you could put him in a cameo in the sequel.
I hope I hope he will not.
He'll not come after you.
Assume, this cannibal guy. Now I'm scared.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a big cannibal audience or not, so I'm not sure. We might, I'm not sure. But so it's gonna be people can go see in person, New York City and LA in June, starting June 21st, and then it'll go throughout the country after that. Where can people follow to see where it's gonna go? Like, do you have a website, or does the film have a website or social media?
I think the better it's to follow Draft House and Giant social media and and my social media as well. You can just type my name on either Facebook or Instagram is better, and I will put the right info there.
Yeah. And so vampire movies, like, they have a built-in audience, people like vampires, but at the same time, we've seen so many till you have to do something new, and I think you really did something different with a vampire movie. It was I really enjoyed it. It was very fun, sweet, like you said, and I like dark humor, so it all worked for me.
Oh, nice. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. And I would like to see more of your work.
Of course, I will send all the news, the new work to you.
All right. Thank you, and congrats on the movie.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.